This is the M Zone.
And welcome to the M Zone. Jamie Morris, Matt the Hitman Missler, best guy in the Bizzler, and you got Larry Lee.
Hollywood swinging, Hollywood swinging.
Yeah, they missed you yesterday, man. A lot of people missed you. Adley, Adley for one.
I had to take off yesterday because, I got a trip coming up this weekend. Unfortunately, going to Chesapeake, Virginia for the memorial for my college buddy, my brother from another, Ken Easley, NFL Hall of Fame safety. And I'm on the committee, and we were busy yesterday and, everything. So I apologize to our listeners, but it was something I had to take care of yesterday.
Well, I mean, put the man on the list, Ms. We're gonna give you DAP, some DAP, because you were right about one thing.
What was I right about?
What Stevie Wonder could have been right about it too, but I'm just saying.
Wait, hold on, stop. Before you give me my credit, you can't take away what you're about to credit me for, but then preface it with something like a but. So what did I get credit for? Right. Stop there.
Mike Tomlinson resigning or taking a leave of absence or whatever the hell he's doing.
I happen to be right on that one, but I had no inside track or nothing. I just felt it. But as you said, you're right. Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles.
All anybody with some blind sense.
They must have amnesia.
Exactly.
They forgot that I'm him.
Exactly. All I know is, and Pat McAfee played around with it all day yesterday before his show went over. Oh, something big's gonna happen. Something big's gonna happen. Something big. Yeah, the only something big was it was either the Raven or Harbaugh decided he was going to the Giants, which he going to the Giants.
You think so?
Or the Giants already said it. Whatever you want, blank check. Write it. You write it. You send it to us. We with you. That's all you got. All he got to do is put up with the general manager that they have. That's it.
Right. Well, he's going to want all the power. You know that.
Well, he's got all the power. Wait a minute. It was that general manager who got rid of Saquon. They don't trust him anyway, but they trust him because he don't mess around with the money. You know what I'm saying? I get that.
Now I've been a guy that's complaining about the carousel of the same names.
Sure,
but this particular one, if we just specifics about this particular one, rehiring John Harbaugh is a great idea to whomever.
Right. No, I agree. I don't like the same tire all the time too, but when you get a coach like that, and the only reason the owner got rid of him was because he wanted his power back. Steve, that Steve guy, he wants his power back. It was just time. Yeah,
I liked his press conference yesterday. I thought he was original.
He gave Lamar some say, but he ain't got no power. He got no power.
Wait, hold on, wait a minute. I'm right about something else.
What you right about now?
I'm right about when I say the quarterbacks of the league or the top 2 or 3 guys on every team now, because of their salaries, they are your business partners and not your employees.
Right.
Correct?
That's what Steve Bisciotti said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said about Lamar. I heard him. I listened to him, and I said, "Ooh, big Sweet's gonna tell me about that one."
That's what you have to do. That's what you have to do today. Bisciotti said, if you want to have something to say, you get on a plane. I'll put you on a plane. Come up here and be a part of these meetings all day and sit in. I love that about that man saying that.
I have always liked when they moved to Baltimore, the Ravens. I liked their organization. They kept it real.
I happen to have met Bisciotti when he first was trying to be an owner. Mm-hmm. We were all at the league meetings, and the way the league meetings are set up, the key people on every team, the owners, and the general managers are at the inner circle table, and the outer circle table are all the other, the ring around the outer circle table are all the employees, vice presidents and all that kind of stuff. And Bisciotti was petitioning to get in, and I sat next to Bisciotti at the league meetings, and he and I talked for 2 days, man, about this and that and that. And he may not remember me at all, but Lord, he was a cool guy then, and it looks like he's still the same cool guy that's the owner now, that I saw yesterday on television.
No, He was cool. I agree with you. He was cooler than a fan. I get it. He was now that's an owner who he knows his team is still intact. That's an owner who my team's just got to get better. We got to get better defensively. Look. All I'm gonna say is look. You got Jesse Mentor. Jesse is a former defensive coordinator.
His name's coming up,
It should. It should. Look what Mike McDonald's is doing. Now, Mike McDonald, he's doing a good job. So if you're looking at what those defensive coordinators have done, those young defensive coordinators have done, you got to look at him. You got to look at him.
Yeah, I agree. You got to take a look at him, and once again, the Baltimore, they're not in bad shape. They just got to figure out the right thing. And I think Harbaugh's voice was just getting a little dull in their locker room and everything. So the players probably went to Lamar and said, "Hey, man, go talk to owner for us, man. It's time for change around here."
Wow, you gonna put that on Lamar?
He reached out. He reached out and went over to the Bisciotti and said, "I need to talk to you." And that was Bisciotti's response. Like, "Okay, dude, you want to get involved? Okay. Well, you're going to sit up here and be in these meetings with me all day, every day, and you're going to make yourself heard. I'm going to hear you. You're going to make yourself heard." The only thing that they're talking about negatively about Bisciotti is that he fired Harbaugh on the phone. That's the big negative.
Wait a minute. Is it better than a text? Is that better than a text, or is it you talking to him? Yeah, I mean, think about it.
They're about the same. They're about the same.
No, they talking on the phone. You're talking on the phone.
Talking ain't the phone. After 18 years, you're going to fire me over the phone?
I'm going to say this. Did you want him to come over and say, "Hey, John, come on over. Let's meet. Make him drive all the way in. Make him drive. Hey, that's a 45-minute drive. Make him drive all the way in.
Yes.
Say, John, we're going in a different direction."
Yes, and more yes.
Give me my bad news on the phone so I can hang up on your ass when I'm done. That's what I'm talking about.
No, after 18 years, I like to think that we were more civil or brother. There'd be more of a brotherhood than that.
Maybe that's how they are. Maybe that's how their relationship was. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm being the devil's advocate because I don't know how these two men interact. Right. But what I'm saying is maybe that's the way, Steve wanted to do it.
Yeah, what I thought I heard him say was he made his mind up at 6:30 in the morning.
Okay.
Or something like that. And he wasn't going to.
He read them up.
But still,
it's no need for you to come in. We'll pack your stuff and send it on over.
How does that sound after 18 years? This man has coached your organization for 18 years.
You ain't got to come in and get your stuff. You don't want the Ravens stuff anyway, right? Right?
No, Jamie, have a little more couth than that, man.
I'm gonna tell you what. The only stuff I kept was my Redskins stuff and my Michigan stuff. All the rest of that, I let it all burn. I really gave it away. I gave it away to friends.
I'm not that kind of nostalgic guy either. But as I get older, and I'm an older gentleman, now that I have grandsons, some of that stuff you can sit back and leave for your grandsons to look at and that kind of thing, What you laughing about?
E-Money said, give him a $25 Applebee's gift card on the way out. That would be nice. Hey, that'd be nice, right? Hey, that would be real nice.
No, Jamie, have a little more couth than that.
Call
the man. Hey, call the man in.
These men have known each other for 18. You said 18 years, 17, 18 years, right? So, I mean, they know one another. They know if they got to see each other. He didn't want to look into his eyes, and he didn't want to look into his eyes. They didn't want to hug. You know, they didn't want to do the brother hug and all of that. I mean, they didn't want to do all of that. They didn't get sensitive about it.
Right. They don't have to, but it's just, I don't know, professional.
It's business. Is that what you – no, businesses have changed. They wear sweatsuits to offices now. They don't wear suits. They wear a sweatsuit. That's what they do.
True.
You know it as well as I do. Everybody.
All true that you're saying. I'm not denying anything you're saying. I'm just saying, me personally, as if I'm the owner, I'm after 18 years of working with this man, I'm gonna sit down and man, we might even. It don't mean we hate each other.
Wait a minute, you're gonna chop it up, have a little coffee with them, lie to one. Hey, I knew you was. Yeah, you always gonna be my best friend.
No.
Let's hook up later.
Talk straight. Straight talk. That's what I'm talking about nowadays. That's missing. When you hear all I've been preaching since we've been on this show is looking another man in the eye and talking what you need to say and what you have to say and manning up.
I think that got done a long time ago. I think they knew if he didn't make the playoffs, Steve Bisciotti had an easy way to get out. He was
true,
and he let him go. Him go. And here's Steve. And it helped John out. John's gonna get what he wants $25 million to coach this team. He gonna get it. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Great, awesome, great, but.
So he really helped in this. Steve really helped out John, if you think about it.
How?
Well, he gonna get what he want from somebody. It's either Atlanta or New York. Think about it. Hot Atlanta, or the Big Apple. Okay, I'm just saying.
But the New York is a tough hot spot now, and ain't nothing kind about New York. Ain't nothing kind about going to. No. You go up there and get in that spotlight, you gonna get burned. Everybody get burned. You know that better than anybody. Oh yeah.
Hey, my brother Joe said, Jay, don't go anywhere where the media's gonna be on you. He said, hey.
But they're everywhere in New York.
Exactly. I remember reading Joe's second year in the league, right?
Right.
Joe's second year in the league. I was a junior in college. And they threw him a screen. He ran for 15 yards and got tackled and then fumbled the ball. They called him the worst draft pick in Giant history. I'm just saying, but they call everybody that when you mess up. You know that.
Right.
But it was, it hurt the family, but, he said we can't. He said this is a lesson to you. Don't believe any of the hype. Don't believe any of the hype because they build you up to tear you down, right?
So I don't know whose fans are worse, Giants or Eagles.
Right? No, the Eagles. Yeah, the Eagles. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's the Eagles all the way. Yeah. Speaking of Eagles, they need an offensive coordinator, and you got to be thick-skinned. You got war pay. You got to have war pay when you go there. I'm serious, man.
I like that. Well, you gonna take the Eagles offensive coordinator job? You need war pay. I like that.
That's crazy, man. Mike McDonald's, he too sweet. He too sweet to wear to.
Oh yeah, no, he too soft. He too soft.
Right. No, it won't work. That Miami got into his blood. He got thin blood now. He gonna have to build that up. Because he gonna have to get thin. What'd you say? What'd you see, Riz?
That's that Miami yayo right there.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, hey,
Herman knows, coach.
That's a guy. That's a guy said, hey, I'm hate to say this, but that's a guy who claimed he was black when he finally got to Miami.
Yeah,
he was driving around with them glasses and them gaucho shorts, and you like, whoa, is that meeting your ankle or what, bro? What you wearing?
just fitting that Miami Vice role. That's all, bro.
Prior to that, he was like Tiger Woods. He was a Caucasian or whatever.
Exactly. He didn't know what he was. We couldn't tell. I'm just saying, man. That's all. Look, I get it, and I get it, but everybody needs the Lions. Who the Lions going to take as offensive coordinator? Everybody talking about it can't be Dan Campbell.
No, somebody videoed Mike McDonald at Detroit's airport yesterday.
He came in for an interview. Yeah, he was interviewing. I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, that's a good move on their part, on everybody's part. Because go ahead.
That was a picture of Kelvin Shepard that you're talking about. Yeah, not Mike McDaniel.
No, I saw one of Mike McDaniel.
That's the picture that I saw that said Mike McDaniel at the airport. I'm like, bro, Mike McDaniel got short ass hair. That's Kelvin Shepard.
Kelvin Shepard was getting his car wash in Florida.
Is that you sure about that?
Couple days ago.
You sure about that?
I think.
You sure about that?
I don't know, Miz.
The one I saw. The one I saw was Mike McDonald. It was Mike McDonald.
You sure about that?
With a fan of DTW.
You sure about that? All I'm saying is it over though, Big Sweet? Is it over? Are they done firing coaches, or are we got one more? No. Well, maybe a second one. Hey, Green Bay, Matt LaFleur and Green Bay ain't really, they ain't coinciding right now. They ain't getting together. Right now, they fighting over a contract extension.
Well, most of the time, if two entities want to get something done, they usually do. And in Green Bay, it looks like both sides want to get something done. So I don't assume that there's going to be a fallout in Green Bay. They just got to come to terms somehow, some way. But I think the carousel is over because you're going to start seeing once the dominoes start falling, then they got to put their staffs together and all that kind of stuff. And some of the coaches might already, have they know who they want. They kind of know who they want. And they go through their agents and everything and get everybody in line. So right now it's a free for all, but it's a lot more organized than we know. That's all I'm gonna say. These coaches know. Like a Robert Saleh, for instance. He's pretty sure he's gonna get a job somewhere.
He's gonna get a job somewhere. And let him keep doing what he's doing. And he's getting that middle linebacker back too.
That's right. Yeah. Ooh. So he knows guys already that he wants to put on his staff, and that kind of thing. Kind of like, no, I was going to say it's kind of like LSU and what's his name, but it's not. It's not. Yeah, it was a little different in college because the pros, it's more accepted and people know how that maneuvers, but. Then Lane Kiffin going to LSU with all the old Miss guys already in place and that kind of thing. So, but Robert Saleh knows his staff. He knows who he wants. And so it's going to be interesting, all the potential administrative moves and, who's going to have all the power and that kind of like in Pittsburgh. I know as much as Omar Khan love working with Mike and all that, Omar's got to be somewhat pleased because now he can be a total GM. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. I get you.
Yeah, long as Mike was there, Omar was the GM with the title. But now Omar has to be the GM, with the responsibilities as well. And that's what, I said on this air, and I'm hearing other people say that, Mike, and I'll be critical of Mike too. A lot of people, Mike had all the power in Pittsburgh. So if you want to criticize the Steelers about the quarterback play and not getting the quarterback and doing this, doing that, Mike Tomlin's culpable, or he's responsible for all of that too. He can't say that the general manager brought in these these quarterbacks on me, and I they're the only ones I had to work with. No, Mike was in control of all of that. So if there's one thing to say, about Mike, I'll say that, because I am a Mike.
Will the new Roonies give him that kind of control? That's Kelvin Shepherd there, Miz, I think.
I want you to take a look. I'm going to try to see if I can.
He's at Hertz.
That's fine, Danny, but I want you to look at the top right corner here. I'm going to try to see if I can enhance.
That's not the picture I'm talking about, though.
I know, but this is the picture I'm talking about, though, that I was telling you about. Former Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel was spotted early morning Thursday at Detroit Metro Wayne County Airport. Does that brother look like Michael McDaniel?
That looks like Kelvin Shepherd. I'm just saying.
See, that's why you can't trust. That's why you can't trust social media.
I take it back. That might be Michael McDaniel, but not Mike McDaniel. I'm sorry. See, they said Mike McDaniel. That's probably Michael McDaniel. But still, does that brother look like Mike McDaniel?
Well, you know what some people would say. I'm just telling you what most people say. Y'all look alike. So, hey, look at that.
Y'all look alike.
Like Mike McDaniel.
He don't look like Mike McDaniel. Michael or Mike, he don't look like a McDaniel.
He don't even look like, you're right. He don't even look like a McDaniel.
But here's my thought, man. People do that on purpose. That's how BS life is now, and with all this social media and all that stuff. He knew, whoever that was that put that, knew he was being deceptive, and he did it. And that's what's wrong with the world today. All this misinformation and wrong stuff and AI and everything else. No, there's no more truth. No more people looking each other in the eye. No more conflict resolution. It's all BS.
See, there you go. What? Okay, Miz. Did he?
I didn't make this graphic.
Did this man get hair plants? I'm
just saying. When he gets hired, 2022, he's Mike McDaniel. In 24, becomes Mike the Coke King McDaniel. In 2026, people projecting he's going to be the new coach of the Browns, and he'll be the Pierogi Prince.
He ain't gonna be.
Look at that man right there. You look like he's about to tell you about some things and serve you up some kielbasa and some pierogies and tell you all about the good times there was when the Browns were in the Super Bowl. That never happened.
You better be careful. He might be the Lions' next offensive coordinator.
He ain't gonna be that. Him and Dan, that's like acid. That's like water. The acid, dude, that ain't working. That ain't gonna work. If you hey, you know Dan was tough on. He's tough on some offensive coordinators.
Well, who needs? Don't set me up. Don't set me up like that.
I'm just saying.
Don't set me up like that. Who's gonna be tough on him?
Apparently, I mean, I did see the ticket. The season ticket holders got a nice letter from Sheila. I'm just letting you know. We all know we had a tough year. It's not the year we were looking for. We took a hit. But we're not going to do anything drastic. That's what she said.
You sure about that?
That's what she said. Nothing drastic.
You sure about that?
I'm pretty sure that's what she said.
Not great, Bob.
We talked about the window. I give it one more year.
You 3 years. I mean, wait a minute. I got to look at Jared Goff. Because Jared Goff is the key. You know that. The quarterback's the key.
He might only have one more year.
They ain't doing that no more, Miz, right now. That ain't happening no more. They ain't saying Jared Goff. Jared Goff. They ain't saying that.
Unforgivable. Let me tell you something Bobby Ross told me when we worked together at the line. Head coach Bobby Ross. He said something I'll never forget.
They're going to get a quick bus ticket out of here.
Huh?
That's what he would say.
He said when quarterbacks decline, they either decline on a slope like going down the hill, on a ski slope, or they fall off the cliff. So now I think we're kind of at that point about Jared Goff. We got to start evaluating Jared Goff. Is he going down the slope, or is he falling off the cliff?
Right,
we're at that point of decision for Jared Goff.
Right now, they thinking he's just going down. He's going slow down the slope.
I know, but is that the case?
I mean, that could take 1 year or 2 years. How long is it gonna take?
That's the point. That's the $64,000 question that you got to ask when your quarterback has been a good quarterback, but now he's not. I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers went off the cliff. He didn't go down the slope. He went off the cliff.
He went off the deep end because ayahuasca.
He tore his Achilles, guys. I mean, he's an old man.
That's all part of being an old man, Jamie.
All I'm saying to you is, I get it.
My knee.
Exactly. I mean, we should be applauding that man right now because
absolutely.
He tore that Achilles. I know.
No. It'll be a colder day in hell before I cheer anything Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, I shouldn't have said that. Wrong words.
Never happened. Anyway. And I'm not even a Lions. I'm not even a super Lions fan. I will never, ever cheer for anything Aaron Rodgers.
And what is that reason, Miz?
He just hates Aaron.
Damn right I do.
He just hates him.
Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron. Anyway,
it's nice to know that you can go on, exhibitions or expeditions on illegal substances, but because you're a star quarterback, you ain't going to get popped by the league because it's Aaron Rodgers.
At the time, he
hasn't been popped. He hasn't been tested.
At the time, he was loved by the league, and he was making the league a lot of money.
Sure, he was.
During those shutdown months. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
About that?
We need to go to a break.
You sure about that?
Yes, I'm pretty damn sure we need to go to a break.
On the weed.
We need to go to a break. We come back. Hey, got a college football championship game on Monday. We have not said much about it. It's time to talk about that. And don't forget, Michigan's got a game tonight. Michigan basketball, the number 4 team in the country.
You better take a nap.
I am. I swear to you, I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to wake up at, you know what? I'm going to wake up at 10:45 when the game really starts. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'll be ready.
Would you like me to call you?
Yeah, call me.
Okay, I'm going to call you.
I'm going to set my alarm too. I told Siri already what time I need to wake up.
You sure about that?
I'm sure. On the other side, You're listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050.
We're clear on radio.
Godzilla's got some things coming out. Everything we know about Godzilla's reign. Details are being kept close to the vest. Godzilla versus Rain Kong. But there are several things that can be part of the set. Interesting. See, I didn't like Shine Godzilla. I didn't like that one. That was kind of stupid. I don't know why I didn't like it. I usually love them. I got my son confused because he wants to know which Captain America he should play with.
There's more than one?
Well, the real Captain America, Steve Rogers, he went back into the future to get with the woman he always loved, right?
Okay. All right.
And he left the shield for Sam. Hawk. Remember, now Hawk and Captain America are one. But Sam refuses to take the super serum. The super serum. He's not going to take it. So he gets beat up a lot. His body hurts and everything like that. So if you ain't gonna be the Captain America of America, because Cap took that super serum. That's how he became Captain America.
This for us OGs, that's like Popeye and his spinach.
Well, yeah. I never knew about the super serum until I saw the new what is it, what is it called?
Mutiny.
The MSU or something like that. Marvel Universe, the Marvel Universe when it came out.
Well, see, I'm not the movie guy like you are, man.
Well, I gotta watch it with my son because he's always asking me questions. So I try to keep up with Godzilla. Got to keep up with Godzilla, and I got to keep up with the Monster Universe and the Marvel Universe. I got to keep up with. That's what I got to do.
All right.
And now Captain America, the original Captain America is coming back because you guys know Doom is coming. Doom is coming because he stole the Fantastic Four's baby. Reed Richards and Sue Storm's baby, who can take out Galactus. You guys know who Galactus is, right? He eats planets.
I have no idea.
My God, you know that's in the 1960s, and that was in our day. You could read the comics in it.
Let me go ahead and call up Isaiah to let you two nerd out.
Hey, I'm not nerding out. I'm a listener in this. Okay, because
he knows, Isaiah knows the Marvel Universe better than anybody. I mean, anybody
also knows that everyone in the Marvel Universe.
He does, and he knows. Wait a minute, and the Star Wars universe. He knows everything in the Star Wars movies.
See, Uncle Larry's gonna have to teach CJ about some Temptations and some Four Tops and some Diana Ross, and so because I'm the music uncle.
You saying I ain't playing him no music?
I ain't saying that. I'm just saying that Uncle Larry can't help him in his Marvel quest. But I can help him on the music side.
And they're doing all these videos, doomsday videos, and the Wakandas are back.
Oh no,
they're back.
I remember the Wakanda.
Black Panthers. The sister took over. She's wearing the uniform now. Okay, the young sister. Right. So she took over. She wears it now. Just letting you know.
Okay. Much love to what's his name? Chadwick Boseman.
Yes. We're ready, Liz. We ready.
Okay.
This is the M Zone.
And welcome back to the M Zone. Jamie Morris, Matt the Hitman Missler, best guy in the Bizzler, and you got Larry Lee. Hey, out in the West Coast doing his thing. He's not confrontational today, Larry. Very good.
No, I woke up on the right side of the pillow and we're talking good conversation about, if they could only hear some of our conversations off the air,
I'm going to get into this. We're talking transfer portal. It's almost closing. It's almost over. We're hump day. We're right there.
So let me ask you this. So you're a young man. You put yourself in the transfer portal, but it doesn't work out for you. Now you got to go back to your university. Do you have egg on your face now? Or,
No, you just said I'm coming back. Well, after today, you're going to have egg on your face. You're right about that. You're going to have egg on your face because you went out in the portal and you didn't have a suitor that came and got you.
So now you got to go back.
Right.
Now will coaches.
They don't have to take you back either. Now you left here. And is that right, Miz? If you leave here, everybody knows you're done, right?
If you leave in the transfer portal?
Yeah, if you put yourself in the portal, that tells this University of Michigan, Jamie Morris, I'm going into the portal. That means you are not classified as a running back anymore as part of the University of Michigan or anything till you get out of the portal and you tell the coaches and you call them, I want to come back,
So it's up to the coach. And then secondly, now, some coaches hold that against him?
No, I haven't seen that. I have not seen that, but I've seen some coaches persuade certain athletes. Texas, they said players were persuaded to get into because we don't want you now. We got other players that are coming in,
Right. See,
they encourage you.
That's got to be somewhat awkward. If you're that backup kind of guy and you're looking for your big payday, you're the backup at Michigan, but you're looking for a big payday somewhere else.
Well,
that's not
what you should be looking for. You should be looking for a position that, or you've spoken or your people have talked to their people and there's some synergy there and you get into the portal and you're going to get taken,
I agree. But the money is the primary thought process of why they even want to enter the portal most of the time. And then speaking of portal and the change, they kind of got a mess going on at Washington, don't they?
Yeah, because
at Oregon. I'm sorry, at Oregon.
At Oregon, Dante Moore has decided that he's going to stay at Oregon.
And
Raiola has decided that he was going to Oregon. And look, but who's the best? Who's the better for it? If something happens, you got two big time quarterbacks, right?
True.
I mean, that's the best. That's the best thing that Oregon can have.
Oh, that's great for Oregon, but in this day and time,
as long as they can pay them, as long as they can pay the two of them, and
correct.
they coexist.
That's what I'm saying. So,
it's like Miz and I. We spoke about this before I sent you the link. Is that you got it's like Dante Moore waiting for what was his name, Gabriel. Remember Gabriel before him, who's with Cleveland now as a rookie. But I mean, he waited his turn, but he was on the team, and now Dante Moore, he's still the starter, quote unquote, and Raiola his opportunity.
Realistically, Raiola can make the same money as a backup at Oregon than he could as a starter at Nebraska.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you're exactly right. How much they're gonna spend,
Right.
And then I know everybody's favorite punching bag. I mean, Lane Kiffin, he got the kid Levitt. He got the kid Levitt from Arizona State, and he's on stat. I mean, he's signed and sealed, and then they brought in another one. They brought in someone else. They're trying to bring in someone else. So I mean,
I guess if you got the money to do it,
that's the thing. If you got the money, because right now there's no guardrails or anything like that. There's not, So I mean,
but at some point, a kid like Raiola, he's not going to want to accept the backup role. He's going to want to. He was a starter at Nebraska, so I'm going from a starter to a backup because I'm going to make
surgery. He did have surgery, right, Miz? So he did have surgery. Yeah, Raiola did have surgery. So maybe that gives him time, Big Sweet.
Yeah.
You want to study that offense. That offense it's infinite. I mean, it's complicated, and I'm
gonna keep an eye on that situation because I think that's a new and upcoming situation that I'm gonna see how this is gonna be handled, and so I can get more in depth about college football. But that's very interesting to me.
So when you think about it, everybody thought Texas Tech was the team between Texas Tech and Indiana. Those were
Texas Tech had the most money, right?
Well, they say that. That's not what I hear. Indiana spent the most money.
Okay.
Mark Cuban has stepped up largely.
Yeah. I heard that. Yeah.
So that being said, it should have been Texas Tech versus Indiana. A lot of people are saying because they spent the most. These two programs spent the most on this. But hey, it happened for Miami. They got the right choice. They got slotted in the right slot, and they were able to make the run, right?
So if you think about it, Miami might be the best investment, a return on investment.
Right now, right? Yeah.
Because if the other schools are the top, paying the top and gotten what they've gotten, but Miami isn't in the top, whatever, but look 5 or 10 in
look at Ohio State. Everybody said how much Ohio State paid, and Ohio State, they didn't really go far. I mean, what? They were one and done this year.
Yeah.
So lost 2 games. If you look at it, they lost the Big Ten championship, and they lost the first playoff game that they played in.
And that's part of the reason I like Cignetti, because I think he's done it with marginal to good players, because he took a lot of guys from James Madison and brought them over.
These are proven guys. These are guys that he knew about. These are guys he put money about. But the real key is the one you should be looking at, Larry, is that the center from Notre Dame. That's the kid they brought in last year to sew up. They felt that their I was reading this. Their hidden secret is their offensive line coach.
Sure.
And he is the guy that really put this team on the right trail, because they get down. They get their blocking down. They know exactly what they're doing. They know what they should be averaging, and they get it done. They get it done.
I agree. Wasn't the center the MVP of the Rose Bowl?
Yeah. I mean, think about that. The center was the MVP of the Rose Bowl.
Right on, my brother. Right on to the centers. Right on.
I know you like that. Everybody knows you like that. We all
right on.
That's what I said. I'm like, hey, okay, that works.
But that's part of the reason I said I like Cignetti too, because the other thing about Cignetti is he's got one of the older rosters in college football. He's got a lot of 4th, 5th, and even a couple 6-year guys in that on that roster, which might be the new.
It's production over
which might be the new model,
right?
That might be the new model versus trying to get all the guys out of the portal as youngsters and everything. He might be setting the tone with the new model.
He's got the Michigan State receiver for next year. He got their best receiver, and if that kid gets down, then we know he's got it going on.
You sent it to me, didn't you? You see where Sparty is stepping up financially.
Sparty's stepping up big time. They got a big donor, and they gave some money. You saw what kind of money they gave to that university, and a large percentage of it is going to athletics. So Sparty's stepping up.
Up. I agree. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
The whole school. I mean, all of Iowa State. Anybody, if you're a player, you went to Iowa State, you pretty much in Penn State. You live in Penn State.
Yeah, that's true. And I know we're going to talk about a little later, but the Natty game's coming up.
Yeah. You want to boast these Miami guys. Hey, I'm good with you. You want to bring Miami guys on? We can do that. I know Daryl Thompson, the former running back for Indiana. I'll bring him on.
Believe me, I know Highsmith and all those guys and Lamar Thomas, and we could bring them on, but I'm all in on IU. So
see, how are you gonna be all in? And these are your nephews talking.
They are my nephews.
You talk about Mel Bratton and Alonzo Highsmith.
They all my little nephews, man.
All of the
my nephews.
you giving me all of the greats out of Miami, and next thing you want to have Uncle Luke on talk about I ain't got no tickets. I ain't got no tickets. Don't contact me.
That's why we don't necessarily have to have them on, because if they hear that I'm for Indiana, they're gonna hurt me, man. They're gonna hurt me. Now I talked to an OG. I talked to a Miami OG the other day.
Okay.
I got OJ Anderson.
Yeah, there you go. I know OJ.
You remember OJ Anderson? Yeah. Yeah, OJ was my host on my visit to Miami when I went down there. And we talked the other day, and I asked him, was he going to the game? And he said, no, man, that's for the young guys, man. He gonna leave it up to the young guys. But, OJ Anderson, long time, who was he with, the Rams? No, not the Rams, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Giants. Yep. And we were talking about all of that, and OJ said he's not even going to go, but he's all in on Miami. So we start flashing back to my recruiting trip down in Miami when he was my host, and good stuff, man. It was good catching up with him. We could have him on too, but he's an OG. He won't be. He's an OG. He's even older than me, so.
He ain't gonna talk he ain't gonna talk no smack. He don't want to talk no smack.
That deserves 3 O's. I'm a 2 OG. He's a 3 OG.
I mean, good God. I mean, the U wasn't the U when he was there. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Who was? What was that coach's name? That took me down. Snellenberger.
Snellenberger. That's the guy who got it started.
Yeah, that's who got it started. That's who took me down on a recruiting trip, Snellenberger. If I remember correctly.
Snellenberger was the man. But, I mean, he gets that national championship. Next thing you want to do is jump to the new league.
Right.
The new World League. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
They were going to put a franchise in Miami, and he wanted to be part owner, part coach. I'm like, no, that's a bad move.
Where did he go from to Miami? Was it Louisville?
No, he went to FIU or something like that. One of the colleges in
Florida.
In Florida.
No, before he went to Miami.
Once he won that national championship, he jumped to the World Football League. It never got kicked off.
Prior to Miami, where was he?
Maybe Louisville. I think it was in Louisville. You may be right about that one.
I think it was Louisville before he went to Miami.
Right.
But I told you when I was with the Dolphins, that's when the U was on fire, man, and those guys lived better than we did. We said, like, who's the pro team down here, us or the U?
Well, at the time, y'all wasn't winning like that. Y'all wasn't doing that. I mean, I
got to the Dolphins right after they lost the Super Bowl to the 49ers. The next, remember?
I remember that, but I'm
85.
It ain't like it was 72 and they was undefeated and everything like that. When it was running, when they was running the streets, I'm just saying.
That's true.
Saying in the 80s, I mean, they was getting ready to shut down the kind of the athletic department. They was thinking about canceling football for a minute.
At Miami?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
It's right before they hired Snellenberger. They're going to give it one more shot. Snellenberger turned it around. I'm just saying. Okay. I'm giving you the history. Because I've watched the 30 for 30 all the time.
I didn't know that one. I didn't. I remember he I don't know if you can look it up, Miz, but where he was before. I think it was Louisville. I think it was before he went to Miami.
I don't think
it was like his
would like that.
Huh?
I'm just messing. I like Lee Corso owns what 2 things did he go to? His thing was Indiana, and he loved Indiana, and he loved Louisville because that's where he coached Tom Jackson at. Remember
before Miami?
Yeah, before Miami.
Looks like he was assistant coaches with the Baltimore Colts.
Okay.
And then also had he started his coaching career as an assistant coach with Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Then in 61, he joined the coaching staff for Alabama as an assistant under Bear Bryant.
He's a smart man.
Then he had a 3-year contract with the Colts.
He was with Don Shula then.
He was supposed to succeed John Sandusky.
Okay.
And then returned to Miami, where he became the head coach of the University of Miami.
There you go.
Afterwards, went to Louisville, Oklahoma, and then finished his coaching career at FAU.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
he got it all started. He kicked it off because he started Bernie Kosar. Remember Bernie?
Yeah.
He started that. He was getting that going.
I remember Bernie very well. You know, I was what seemed like I'm everything we're talking about. I've been involved in, but I remember Bernie very well when I was with the Broncos because we owned them in the AFC Championship game. The Ernest Biner fumble.
Wait. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. The Browns were always owned in the playoffs, man. That was a team that was never going to get there. It was never going to get there. After Jim, I call it the Jim Brown. It's the Jim Brown syndrome. They couldn't win championships after Jim Brown left. You know what I'm saying?
If I remember correctly, when we played them in the AFC Championship game, they were favored. They came out to Mile High,
right?
And they were favored, and Ernest Miner did that fumble, man.
That was in Brown Stadium. That was at Brown Stadium where Ernest Miner fumbled that ball, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that was in Mile High.
Okay.
Yeah, that was in Mile High when he fumbled. And I remember who was our teammate who caused the fumble? Jeremiah Castile, defensive back. Jeremiah Castile caused the fumble. And you know,
I'm just going to remind you, nobody knows what you're talking about. Nobody remembers all that you. I just want to remind you.
I correct you. I correct you. Philly E will know. Philly E will know.
That's the only guy. You got one guy. Everybody else in the world going, what the hell is he talking about?
Come through for me, Philly E. Come through for me.
I'm just saying. You talking, Miz is probably looking at me go, the hell's he talking about, Jamie?
What are we doing?
Just saying. Nobody remembers that. I remember the fumble. I remember Ernest Biner getting that ball knocked out of his hands.
Right.
They didn't get to I got it, and Elway made the drive. Remember that?
Right.
Nobody else remembers that. Ain't nobody remember that. They don't even show that no more as a highlight.
You're really trying to make me feel old right now.
I'm not making you feel old, but you got to stay in the time. Stay in the time.
I'm in the times. We talk about the times every day, but a little history don't hurt every now and then. We got to know some history too.
I got people saying, why we going so far back, Jamie? When I mentioned Howard Schnellenberger, they went, who?
That's because you got OG as a co-host.
Well, look, I know it's just I'm just letting people know. So Miami has improved. They've gotten better. They're back to in that form. Where, they're an intimidating team. They have an intimidating defense. They got a defensive line that gets after the ball. But as you said, Larry, this Indiana team don't take smack from nobody. Nobody. They bring it, and they bring it on every play. Yes. So it's going to be interesting to see these two pushing and pulling one another,
That's going to be a good game. I think we're in for, there's some other intangibles. I'm always looking for the intangibles. The quarterback going back home to Miami for this game. That's an intangible. Indiana's Heisman Trophy winner. He's going back home to Miami for the Natty. And I think there's something to that too, because sometimes, man, we overlook the intangibles. Well, when we try to decide these victories and do all that kind of stuff, and man, I can't pull up his name right now. The quarterback in Indiana, Mendoza.
Yeah,
he's from Miami, so he's going back home.
Yeah, but does that bother him going back home? Is that going to mess with him a little bit? Is he going to be a little hyped up? Hey, different things. Look, different things happen. I mean, I know his mom and dad been sitting in the stands and they've been watching him play, but look, this is different. You're going home to Miami.
To Miami. Going back to now, I'm not old enough to what am I trying to say? I'm hip enough to remember Will Smith in Miami.
I mean, nobody knows that song. Nah.
I know that song, Jamie.
Nobody know that song.
First off, that's not going back. That's not going back to Miami. That's getting jiggy with it.
That's getting jiggy with it, but I know it.
No. Yeah. Now, OG know that song.
Who knows that song?
Huh?
Will Smith's Miami song?
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it.
Oh, well, if Miz knows it, we got a shot that some people know. Getting jiggy with it. Yeah. Getting jiggy with it.
Is that Mike McDaniel?
Welcome to Miami.
Yes.
Yeah. Miz knows that one. Will Smith.
He admitted that he knew that one. Okay, that's good. That's
Because
good.
I do. I'm familiar with that. Good Will Smith music.
Now, Miz,
Wild Wild West.
Miz,
that
do you know
that movie sucked?
Well, yeah.
Do you know Gloria Estefan?
What about Gloria Estefan?
Do you know her? You know of her?
Yeah, I'm familiar with Gloria Estefan.
Okay, you're gonna get some of that.
Straight up now, tell me, do you really want to love me forever? Oh,
wow.
Wow.
Okay. Hey, nobody's gonna know if they put her on a halftime show. Nobody's gonna. Who the hell is this on?
They don't know Gloria Estefan.
Dude, this ain't an old man's game.
No, but she still.
It works in Miami, but the Indiana folks are gonna say, "Who that?"
She was a superstar, man.
No, don't get crazy. She wasn't. I mean,
she was big time.
In the Miami Sound, when they had the Miami Sound,
right.
But
so wait. Since we're on this track,
okay,
Miami Vice.
Okay, you got Crockett and Tubbs. I get you. I'm with you.
Miz, you ever heard of Crockett and Tubbs in Miami Vice?
No, but I do remember playing Grand Theft Auto Miami Vice.
You can't even get with Jamie Foxx and who's the Crockett? That was Crockett. No, that was Tubbs. But who was Crockett at the time in the Jamie Foxx edition of the of Miami Vice?
I haven't even seen the Jamie Foxx edition of Miami Vice.
Oh my God! So if you ain't seen it,
See, okay, I got another one for you. Miz, what about the one with the comedian and Dan Marino and all them, the movie?
You're talking Ace Ventura, Pet Detective?
Ace Ventura, yes. What about Ace Ventura?
How people not know about Ace Ventura, Pet Detective?
Yeah, they love stupid movies. People love stupid movies. So you're right about that. They love stupid movies. You right about that. I'll give you that.
Soundproof glass.
Exactly.
Soundproof glass, right? Just
Miami Vice.
Miz, you know Uncle Luke, right?
I know Boo Boo the Fool.
He know Uncle Luke. He knows Uncle Luke. He don't want to admit it, but he does. Okay, 2006, Miami Vice. Let me see.
Oh, that Uncle Luke.
Yeah, that Uncle Luke.
That Uncle Luke.
Yeah. 2 Live Crew Uncle Luke.
2 Live Crew Uncle Luke.
I didn't want to put it out there.
I didn't go specifically individual people. I just knew of 2 Live Crew.
Exactly. Right. But Uncle Luke was the creator of 2 Live Crew. Colin Farrell's was James Crockett, and Jamie Foxx was Tubbs.
Oh,
okay.
That one got by me, Jamie.
You didn't let that movie? Yeah, you didn't go see that movie?
I didn't go see that movie.
Oh my goodness. It was a good movie too. You missed out.
I'm trying to think of what other things are related to Miami. You know, that you say I'm an OG.
Well, I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just saying you got to stay current too, because when you bring up like when we was talking about Snellenberger, nobody knows. Miz was looking up Snellenberger.
But I remember his time at I was familiar with his time at FAU because he was, at the time, like this, like beginning part of FAU.
We need to
then that was a part that I was familiar with.
We got to go to a
Montana.
break, but when we come back, we'll finish up. We got the book on the other side. You're listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050.
We're on radio, and we're going to go to a break. Be right back, fam.
This is the M Zone.
And welcome back to the M Zone. Jamie Morris, Matt the Hitman Missler, best guy in the Bizzler. And we got Big Sweet on the other side of the coast.
Real quick, before we go into Miz, what about Shakira? What about DJ Khaled?
Everybody knows Shakira. Yeah, Shakira's
DJ
good.
Khaled.
Yeah, DJ
What
Khaled.
what about Pitbull?
Okay, Pitbull's good. That's good. That's good.
What about The Rock? What about The Rock?
Of course, we know about The Rock.
Everybody knows The Rock, but he lost weight now.
No.
What about Ricky Martin? Ricky Martin.
He's still living La Vida Loca.
Yeah, he's living, but hey.
What about Pharrell Williams?
Yeah, they like Pharrell.
Who Pharrell is.
You all right?
That's all Miami. That's all Miami.
Okay, you keep it there. That's okay.
What about Tony Montana?
Okay, all right. Now we can go now.
Everybody know who Tony Montana is, man.
Tony Montana.
Everybody know who Tony Montana is, okay?
All right.
Joining us is the book himself, John Borden from the Wolverine magazine, Wolverine.com. Sorry, John. We're trying to figure out, what relates to kids nowadays. Would they know the people we're suggesting on there? I don't think anybody knows who Uncle Luke is and Two Live Crew, so we're okay. But if you Google it, they'll go, oh, look at what they're talking about. But anyway, that doesn't concern you, John. We want to get to Michigan basketball.
Say hello to your little friend.
See?
Tony Montana.
See, John knows who Tony Montana is.
John is as old as wait a minute. John is as old as me. So he better know who Tony Montana is.
Oh, the picture we got of him on stream. He's a spry young man right there.
Oh, he's looking good. I think. Hey,
spry young man, that John Borden.
He's looking good. Not a wrinkle on his face. I'll tell you that right now.
Spry young man, you are there, John Borden.
Oh, you guys are great.
Hey, John. Michigan basketball.
Yes, sir.
The Big Ten has started, and Michigan. They get them first two, and then they got Wisconsin. Wisconsin got on a hot streak, and Michigan didn't. They brought the intensity finally and got it there, but they couldn't keep up with Wisconsin.
No, they could not. And, it was very telling afterwards to listen to one Dusty May, because when he talked about, the 20 to 25 minutes where they were competing at a very high level, and the fact that the thing that bothered him most was it didn't match the other minutes of the game. That told you a lot. He was, he felt like, and he used the word exposed in some ways. And so, I think it's always a little easier for a coach to teach after that point when you've gotten that shocker. Michigan had come close to shockers about 3 times, along with all the blowouts. But then when it actually happens and you're looking at that side of the scoreboard at the end, the guy kind of sets in then. Okay, yeah, we can be beaten. We can't just turn it on whenever we want. And I think we found out that they're not always ready for prime time. Good thing they're playing way past prime time tonight.
Yeah, take a flight over yesterday over to Seattle and get ready to play Washington and then head down to not far. It's not I talked to Tom. I talked to Charles Ramsey yesterday, and he's familiar with this trip, so he knows. He said it's not a long trip, James. They'll be in between games. Once they get in between games, it'll be easy. But they just got to get out there and get their timing set. So they're gonna play a late game tonight, and then they'll pretty much have their clocks all taken care of. But does this Washington team scare you in any way?
The Washington team doesn't scare me all that much. What scares me is the Michigan team that you will have and how they'll react. A, to making that trip, and B, to what they just experienced. And are they going to be able to adjust some things enough and adjust their bodies enough to what be more like a 10:40 start by the time they tip off. I mean, Washington's not bad. I think Michigan's favored to win by 12 in this game. But we saw how much that means because they were favored by, I believe it was 18 against Wisconsin. I really look for Michigan to make a strong comeback and push hard, given the bad taste in their mouth from that first loss. But again, how is this game going to be officiated in Washington's own building? Will they try to take advantage of some of the things that Wisconsin certainly did? You hope that if Washington knocks down 15 3-pointers in this game, you're going to have another nail biter at the very least. So Michigan's got some things that they need to do better, and that 3-point defense is way up there. Rebounding, protecting against offensive rebounds by the opposition, getting a few themselves is another one. I talked to Elliot Cadeau, the point guard, after the game against Wisconsin, and he was stressing, we don't have a soft team. We've got we got some guys that can push back, but I think they got muscled a little bit in that game, and he didn't necessarily disagree with that, and he's just himself coming from the ACC saying this is a different league, no doubt about it, in terms of physical play and what is allowed to take place that's not a foul. So we're gonna see Washington competes very hard. They're 10-6. They're only 2-3 in the Big Ten, and they've had some tough close losses. They've had some kind of pretty big injuries lately, with one of their guards, Wesley Yates, being out, and Lathan Somerville going down with a knee injury. So they're not at full strength. Can take advantage of that.
Well, I kind of perplexing me, John, by what you're saying is that, I thought, this team would be ready to go in the Big Ten, and whether it was going to be early, late, or in the middle or whatever, but they knew what the Big Ten was all about. They knew it was going to be rugged, and, you got some big games coming. You got your West Coast trip, and then you got some big games on the schedule that are going to be batched together. But it seemed like, okay, you let Wisconsin come in, you had them down by 14, you're just ready to open it up, and Wisconsin gets angry, and Blackwell turns it into a shooting match.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you like I said, you make 15 threes, and 10 of those were in the second half, and they had a stretch where it didn't seem like they could miss a thing. You had Elliot Cadeau drive into the basket, scoring 19 second half points, and basically what that did was keep Michigan in the game, because Wisconsin looked like they were ready to run away with the thing. They're just hitting everything in sight, and way too many of those were open threes.
Right.
Not a hard challenge. You had some hands up at times, but really, I think they were very disappointed. And I think they're going to address that. They have addressed that in the intervening days since Saturday. There's no question. If you have, not a lot of teams are going to be able to shoot that kind of percentage, 58.8, I believe it was in the second half, whether you guard them or not. But if you have a team that steps up like that, you're going to have a night where you really have to play above that and do some things differently. I think Michigan, you talk about perplexing. I think that what's perplexing is that they looked so dominant in that stretch, starting with, Las Vegas and games after that. I think it lulled them a little bit. I think they felt like, we are going to really just come in and crush some people in the Big Ten. And then you get that little dose of reality. I mean, it started really, Dusty May said he didn't like the last 4 games in terms of some of the aspects that he was talking about. It started in earnest in Penn State. You had to fight your tail off towards the end of that one to come back and pull out that road win. And then this time around, I think exposed in some areas is a good description. So again, it's to what degree does Michigan shore up the issues that cropped up against the Badgers, and how well can they do it late night on the road?
Yeah, I guess my thing is that when you look at this, John, Yaxel Lindenberg is a little injured. I mean, not injured, but he looks like he's limping on his calf. It looks like it's been hindering him for a minute, and he's trying to play on something on an injury. And maybe he should just sit out, but he can't afford to sit out because he's the leading scorer on this team.
Yeah, he really stirs it, and it would be great for Michigan if it could build one of those Las Vegas leads. But they're going to be hard to come by in the Big Ten. Let's face it. When he's playing a little bit nicked up, and you've got a team that likes to mix it up like Wisconsin does. I don't know that Washington is necessarily that team, but yeah, I mean, he was talking about the fact that he felt like this was the best front court in college basketball. Well, okay, now it's really put up time in the Big Ten because you're going to have teams that like to knock you around. You saw what happens to a Daimara. 7-3, and he can be dominant, but also when he's in traffic and he gets doubled and he gets knocked around and that whistle isn't blowing, and teams feel like they can with him because he hasn't shot free throws well to this point. He's getting a little bit better,
right?
But they feel like they can knock him around. At least that can happen. They send him to the free throw line, and you take your chances there. But he's got to be a little stronger with the ball when he's in traffic. There's no question about that. And even Morez Johnson Jr., kind of the enforcer that they brought in to be that real knock-around tough guy, didn't have his typical game at all against the Badgers, and he was kind of offset in that one. So, those are the three elements of what Axel described as the best front court in college basketball, and they can be when they are all operating at max efficiency. But we sure didn't see that at Penn State, and we did not see that in this last game. So I guess we'll see what they can do and what some of the guys coming off the bench can do as far as providing the depth and the added ability and scoring that they need.
Well, again, you're listening to John Borton from the Wolverine magazine, Wolverine.com. And John, so are they going to have to I know that Dusty's made adjustments and he's got to impress upon this team. They've got to be tougher and they got to come out with intensity. This game requires in this league, especially in the Big Ten, you're going to get knocked around. You're going to get beat up a little bit, and refs let you play.
Yes, they do. Although you get the occasional head scratcher, which I think Dusty May felt like he had when Elliot Cadeau comes up with a rebound and gets called for a foul. It was his second, and it sent him to the bench, and that changed things because you saw a 14-point Michigan lead in the first half dwindle down to pick 'em at halftime. It's a dead even, and you had Cadeau not scoring in that first half, only playing 8 minutes in the first half, and you saw that lead disappear. And on a day when LJ Kaysen and Trey McKinney didn't have their typical games off the bench, the departure of Cadeau seemed even bigger. And I think it really messed with the Wolverines because Kaysen was not in the rhythm, turning the ball over. Trey McKinney was not shooting his usual. I would say the same for Nimari Burnett. You just didn't see. You got some good minutes from Roddy Gale Jr. off the bench, but the bench was not what it has been for the Wolverines in these games. And so, you have something like that. I would say there's going to be an extra emphasis on getting Elliot Cadeau to, he likes to be a pesky defender and very handsy and all that, but he may be under some coaching that says, try not to take extra chances early on in this game because we need you out there.
Right. It's going to be interesting what Dusty does and what these young men are going to do. There was a lot of ink about them as like you said, when they Vegas tournament started and how well they did and how up and down the floor, how much they shared the minutes, they shared the ball. Now it's become, it's going to become the Big Ten conference, and they got to play in this conference, and you've got to play all the big boys. They're on their schedule.
No doubt about it. Big boys and small boys, at times it can become big boys if you have that hot shooting night. Wisconsin's not looked at as, they weren't talked about as one of the favorites in this league.
No.
But you can have that, and hey, Washington gets off and knocks down 5 of 6 3-pointers to start this game, and the crowd's going crazy and everything else. All of a sudden, their coaches are telling them, you look at what Wisconsin did on Saturday in their own building. These guys aren't invincible. You can do this. You've heard coaches. You've heard some of the best guard against any kind of letdowns. And that's Dusty May's job and this coaching staff's job as this team goes out west for a couple of games. They really need to make this a sweep to answer what happened on Saturday, in my mind.
Right. And real quick about Michigan football, we know that, hey, there's information going in. There's information coming out. They're bringing in players. We know that some of the players are committed. You got a huge lift from Bryce Underwood making that decision last week, and now you picked up a big time wide receiver from Texas. You got a lot of guys from Utah. I mean, you got a few guys that are coming in. I think it's 3 of them, and then Pittsburgh's got a lot of players that are coming out of Pitt. So, I mean, there's movement coming for John. What do you think about how Michigan's doing in the transfer portal?
I'm telling you, that's a revolving door, and it has been wild for Michigan, certainly, especially with a new coaching staff. That first few days was downright scary because what did you have? You had basically a trickle of special teams guys coming in.
Right.
And Joe fan, the average fan, is tearing their hair out. They're going to be empty-handed. And then you've got it was a torrent coming in this last week. I mean, in addition to the last name on the back of the jersey, they may have to put the first name on there for their first few games next year because you do have quite an incoming group of guys. You mentioned Utah guys, the big name there, John Henry Daly, the edge rusher that had a very, very good season, and he got injured, but he should be ready to go by spring ball. The latest was Snowden Smith out of Utah, and that's I just think that that's going to bolster that secondary. Actually, did I say Snowden Smith? That's how how different the names are. We got Smith Snowden that is actually coming in. J.G. Buchanan, who played both tight end and receiver for Utah, is going to boost that group along with, you mentioned, out of Texas, Jamie French. There's so many guys that I think they bolstered themselves in particular. They got a couple of backup quarterbacks. They got wide receivers. That offense needed bolstering in some areas. I think you still need to pick up a defensive lineman, a linebacker. I mean, you're almost out of time, but something has to happen here, and it still could before the doors are closed.
Yeah, I mean, do you when you see this, do you think they need anything else, a key player or anything like that to get?
I think absolutely. I wouldn't name names at this point, but I just think you have to help yourself out, given the exodus at linebacker and on your defensive line, especially the interior. You need some big fellas to plug in there, and they need a linebacker that can play right away.
Yeah, John. Well, John, really appreciate it. Thank you for coming on, being a part of the M Zone. As always, that's great information, and we'll catch up with you next week.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
That's John Borton from the Wolverine Magazine. We need to go to a break. You will hear the fellas. I have to transport myself or drive over to the home front. It looks like I got a little snow to get off the car, Miz.
Daddy, chill.
Yeah, it's there's a little bit of powder stuff out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I jinxed it for us, man. We got snow. We got about 3 inches, Larry. Got about 3 inches.
Wow.
No, not that.
I feel for you.
No.
I feel for you guys.
I'm looking at that road, man.
No.
Okay. I got to go dust off my car, too.
Yeah, but no. 3 inches? No.
We didn't get 3 inches yet?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. I'm going to believe you. I'm going to believe you over me.
Okay.
All right.
Still, no.
You got, hey, on the other side, you got our boy,
Zach Shaw
Zach Shaw from 24/7 Sports
and CBS.
and
Sports.
CBS Sports on the other side. You know Zach. Zach will give you, hey, ask him all the questions you want about basketball and about football. He'll give you all the answers you need.
All right.
All right. You're listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050.
Clear on the radio.
Cool. Get home. Kids eating, that'll be good, but that ain't gonna happen. Never stays.
It usually never happens.
Oh my God. I was so sick this morning. Oh my God.
Well, don't be sick.
That was my fault. That's my bad. Don't do that again.
All right, chat. Everybody say bye, Jamie. Bye, Jamie.
Bye, Jamie.
Bye, sweet. Bye, all y'all. I don't know why y'all saying goodbye. I mean,
Because you said you was leaving. Because you said you was leaving.
I got to go out there and dust off that damn car.
Yeah.
And I know I brush in Becky's car. Shit.
Well.
You see y'all later. Howdy, guys. Who's saying howdy, guys? John Green.
John Green.
Howdy.
From the woodlands of Texas.
And goodbye.
All right, bye,
I
JP.
hope I don't ruin my nice shoes. Shouldn't have worn 'em.
There you go. You shouldn't have worn them. We'll be back on the radio on the other side.
All right.
This is the M Zone.
I'm going to let Larry bring it in. So bring us in, Larry.
And welcome to the Big 1050. We got Matt, the Hitman Missler, on the ones and twos, and we got Larry on the West Coast, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. Hey, I mean, I figure I let someone that's more. I think that's got the way of doing it better than both of us combined. Than just myself. But you hear the bell ring. Means class is in session. Joining us on the phone from the Windy City himself is a good buddy of mine, a former producer and talent for Inside the Huddle when it was on from 10 to 1 back in the day, but now is a writer for a regular for Michigan 24/7 Sports as well as CBS Sports. That'd be our guy Zach Shaw joins us live from the Windy City. Zach, good afternoon, my friend. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Larry crushed that, but next time I want to give it a try. I want to see what I've got. I want to see if I can. I mean,
well, you know what?
Not taking nothing away from Larry, man.
How about this? The platform's yours. The stage is yours. Give it a go. I want to hear it.
Hit it one time.
Just next time it's me. Give me like 30 seconds heads up. I'll find the right key and make sure I'm in a good cell area.
I'll make sure that we that we get that taken care of then next week when we take care of it then, Zach. Obviously one of the big things, we'll start with football right now because the portal's still red hot. As you know, we're continuing to see more and more players either come out of the portal to Michigan or come back to Michigan, but we also saw earlier today that Justice Haynes making the move down to Georgia Tech. I guess your thoughts on the former RB1A making the move down to Hotlanta.
Yeah, I'm honestly really excited to see what he can do. I'm sure Michigan fans don't want to hear me say that, but the strides he made in his game between his sophomore and his junior year. I mean, he came to Michigan, and for those that don't know, I mean, he's really probably one of the more focused athletes you'll meet. I mean, he's fully, I think he has like a full diet of only 3 ingredient foods. His dad was a high level athlete. He himself probably could have been drafted in baseball if he'd stuck with it. If I'm not mistaken, he could throw pretty fast and hit well, and was he probably could have gone anywhere he wanted, full ride for baseball too. And so no, he's really focused on his body, on his career, on making the most of his opportunities. And a little surprised he didn't go to the draft, but when I hear that Georgia Tech's going to offer him a nice chunk of coin, and one thing they can offer that Michigan probably can't right now is a open range to be the go-to undisputed number 1 running back. I mean, Jordan Marshall, he had a great end of the season. He kind of looked like, I mean this as a compliment to both players, but like it almost didn't seem to matter which one of them was starting. By the time the season ended, Jordan Marshall looked like an all Big Ten kind of running back. And then, Savion Hyder, the true freshman, 5-star guy. I mean, he kind of looks like he can be the next in this lineage that's starting to appear. I mean, Michigan, I believe they've had 4 or 5 running backs drafted since 2020. And obviously if Haynes had gone into the draft, he would have been that as well. He would have been 6. So, they've been doing a nice job of developing running backs. It's the new coaching staff right now, but I think a lot of the cultural staples and, the drills, the workouts, some of the stuff they're going to do, a lot of it's going to be similar. So no, I mean, I think I'm excited to see what he can do. Honestly, if he's healthy all 12 games for Georgia Tech, I think Georgia Tech's going to have a decent shot at the ACC bid in the playoff. And then I also think Haynes might earn himself a trip to New York. I mean, I think he's that good, and the progress he's made each year that he's been in college reflects, to me, they tell the story of a player who's not done getting better. His progress tells me that he's someone that takes this so seriously. He's not resting on his laurels every single day for him. He really gets it in a mature way, like the opportunity to get better every single day, off season, in season, everything. I'd be curious. I mean, just talking to a few people involved in Michigan's program, I mean, it seems like he's one of the top 5 most, I guess, studious, focused athletes in terms of, watching what he eats, watching how he recovers, watching, how he trains, everything. So, no, I mean, I feel like for him, a chance to return to his home state, play in Atlanta. Georgia Tech's got a little juice. I mean, if they can be in contention for titles moving forward, I think there's a lot of talent in the state of Georgia. I could see a lot of people seeing him. I mean, that stadium's right downtown in Atlanta. I could see that being very appealing. And then obviously, they'd love a feature running back like that. Michigan's got a couple. So, I think, when you think about the financial side of it, they might throw more money at Justice Haynes than Michigan was prepared to, just because Michigan knows they have Jordan Marshall, they have Davion Hyder, and then Taylor Tatum, the transfer they got from Oklahoma. He missed pretty much all of this past season with injury, but he was a former 5-star guy too, and he's got a lot of talent. So, I think it's a chance to be a win-win. I think Haynes might have found himself a potentially better situation, and Michigan. Not to sound facetious about it, but that's money they can spend to maybe build out the rest of their roster when they're already pretty well equipped at running back. So that's a very NFL way of looking at it. I have mixed feelings about, that's the direction that things are going in college football. But at the same time, I do think this could be a win-win. So, and I will say, I mean, Justice, he was always great in interviews after games. He talked, I believe, after a couple of Michigan's losses, and he always, he was very honest and thoughtful with his quotes. He wasn't just trying to do the 2-sentence answer and get out of there as soon as possible. And I get why some players do want to do that, but he was someone that was pretty thoughtful and just, I don't know, easy guy to root for in my opinion. So I'm excited to see what he could do at Georgia Tech, because I don't know a ton about their running back room or their offensive line, but I know a decent amount about Justice Haynes, and I think he could have a fantastic season there.
I know. Go ahead, Larry. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I was just going to – you were talking about the way, Zach, you think things are trending and the way they're going. It seems as if there might be a new trend going on with Indiana having such an older roster. I know that, the transfer portal is vital right now and all of that kind of stuff, but – it seems like Cincinnati has put together a roster of older gentlemen. Does that seem like another new trend on the way this thing is trickling?
It certainly makes a big difference, and Larry, you could probably speak to it more than I could. But I mean, the difference between a 23-year-old and a 20-year-old, especially in the trenches, I mean, that's a huge difference. It's grown men versus guys who are maybe months out of high school, and so. I think it could be a trend. I don't know. It's hard to recruit that way every year, just because if they are older, you've kind of got 1 or 2 years before a lot of them graduate. So are you going to be able to replenish things every year? And I would imagine Cignetti's going to try. But I will point out, I mean, it wasn't just him. That Michigan team that won the national championship in 2023. I mean, you can run through that whole starting lineup. It was 4th-year starter, 5th-year starter, 4th-year starter. I mean, because of the COVID year, they had a whole bunch of 22, 23, 24-year-old guys, especially in the trenches. A lot of 5th-year seniors, a lot of 6th-year guys. Plenty of guys who were redshirt juniors, and there really weren't a ton of freshmen or sophomores, that's starting for the Wolverines that year. And then in 2024, Ohio State. I mean, how much of their roster was defined by this guy turned down the NFL draft to come back for another year? This guy was a graduate transfer quarterback, decided to play 5th season at Ohio State. It just seemed like they were also kind of a very old veteran team. And so I think it definitely makes a difference. It's, every team and every program's kind of got to recruit the best roster they can get. But I do think experience matters a lot in football. And I think everyone I've talked to who knows more about football than I do, they say the biggest places where that's a factor are quarterback and the offensive line. And that's not to sound like I'm calling out Michigan, but that was part of their struggles this year, is their offensive line, 3 redshirt freshman starters. If I'm not mistaken, that's the first time Michigan's had that in the 21st century. And then obviously a true freshman quarterback, and not just a true freshman quarterback, but a young one who turned 18 in August. So, in terms of, you saw kind of the other end of it, where suddenly in these big games, the offense didn't look like itself, or didn't look like it did in maybe some lower pressure games. So Yeah, I mean, Larry, to your point, I think a lot of teams are valuing maybe if guys are the same size, same height, same weight, maybe they're from the same school. A lot of teams are valuing that experience, starting experience, as valuable because Indiana, a lot of those guys that are going to start on Monday, I mean, they weren't necessarily 5-star recruits. They weren't necessarily Mr. Combine coming out of high school, but they learned kind of the fundamentals. They got a lot of playing experience early on. A lot of them are from James Madison, which is where Cignetti was. So there's a lot of continuity in scheme and coaching style too. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of guys who have just been around the block a few times, so they're not going to be phased, by a different scheme or a different change. And I, just in my own personal experience covering that Michigan team, I think 2022 they were pretty old, and then 2023 they were really old. I mean, I don't know if Michigan will ever have a especially on the offensive line, but have a team that old again. I mean, their offensive line guys had 151 career starts among everybody before the season began, which is just unheard of. Usually if a team has 70 career starts on the offensive line, you're thinking, wow, this is a pretty old veteran unit. This team had 151, so it was basically like 12 seasons worth of starting experience, on their offensive line. So yeah, experience definitely plays a factor. Some positions more than others, but I think if you want to win national championships, you got to win in the trenches. And if you want to win in the trenches, it can't just be 19 to 20-year-olds. You got to have some veterans, some guys with experience helping you lead the charge.
Got Zach Shaw from Michigan 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports as well. Zach, another one from in terms of the transfer portal. I mean, we obviously Justice heading to Georgia Tech. One of a couple other ones that are making the move as well. Brandon Hillman, Hitman's heading over to Virginia to go to UVA. Elijah Dotson to Mizzou, and we saw TJ Metcalf earlier on in the week. He has committed to go to Tennessee, but obviously guys leaving Michigan to go elsewhere. But we are seeing a lot of guys, and no surprise, guys from Utah making the move from the Big 12 school to Michigan, including Smith Snowden. We're also seeing even from BYU. So I mean, we're looking at the defensive coordinator making that jump from BYU to Michigan. Max Alford coming over, and the whole bunch. Like you said, a mess of Utah and BYU guys. But we're also seeing guys coming out of the transfer portal that were at Michigan, including Jake Guarnera, who he withdrew his transfer portal submission, as did earlier today Andrew Sprague. So I guess, how big of an impact is it to continue to get to bring the guys that, like Guarnera and Sprague to come back and stay with Michigan for at least another season?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at this. Each position has a job to do, and their job is to have a better roster in place than they did 4 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that can be just guys are going to be a year older, like the offensive line. I'm actually going to put that down as a win. This offseason was a win for them because they kept so many of those guys. I mean, they have, among guys who have started in games, multiple games of starting experience, they have Sprague, they have Link, they have Frazier, they have Norton, they have Guarnera, they have Afobe. I might be missing one, but that's a lot of guys who probably could have started elsewhere. I mean, I'm looking at two of the guys who left, Ty Haywood and Caden Strayhorn, and they're high profile recruits. I'm not trying to undermine them at all, but the fact that they are starting or projected starters at Alabama, they both transferred there, when they weren't even projected by anybody to be starters next year for Michigan. That tells me that retaining this talent was really important, because these are the guys. I mean, Sharon Moore, regardless of what has transpired with him in the last month, he was a great offensive line recruiter. He understood how to recruit guys who not only, were tall and big and had the athletic and the footwork measurables and all that, but also guys who could grow into their frames and become not just good offensive linemen, but great offensive linemen. And him and Grant Newsome, the past couple recruiting classes, had recruited offensive line really well. I mean, a lot of those guys I listed are top 100 recruits, 4-star recruits. Obviously Andrew Babalola is a 5-star, and he didn't even play, talk about the starting experience. I mean, they've got a lot of guys with experience, but they've also got guys with talent too, like extreme high ceiling talent. And so I think the offensive line, I think retaining was a great idea, because I've seen, just from afar what Jim Harding, the new offensive line coach, can do. And I think he's going to develop. I mean, he's probably looking at this as like an artist at a great looking piece of canvas. He's thinking, man, I can mold this offensive line into one of the best in the country. So, offensive line, even though they didn't necessarily add a ton of high profile guys, they more added some depth. I look at that as a position where they're net positive. Same with wide receiver. I think JJ Buchanan. I think Jamie French. I think some keeping Andrew Marsh, freshman All-American. To me, that's a net positive. That room looks better now than it did by the end of the regular season. And but to the other side of it, I still think they've got some work to do on defense. Smith Snowden from Utah, he's an instant starter. He'll probably, I would argue, he'll be better than TJ Metcalf, just from what I've seen on film of both of them. He'll play that nickel role. I think he's a better, more natural fit for nickel. So they've got that, and obviously retaining Jair Hill and retaining Zeke Berry was a big deal, and keeping enough of the depth behind them. But I do think safety and linebacker. I mean, losing Brandon Hillman, is what's the young man from Memphis' name? Chris Bracey. Is he going to replace Brandon Hillman 1-1? I'm not so sure. Mason Curtis, still waiting official word on Rod Moore. It sounds like he wants to be back, and Michigan wants to have him. Just, obviously there's always details to come with that stuff. And he hasn't played a lot in the last 2 years. So, he's a little bit of a question mark. So I think safety is maybe one position where if I'm Michigan, if I'm in charge, I'm looking in that portal and saying, hey, is anyone, fast, speedy center fielder type free safeties, any of them available? And then I think linebacker is the biggest question mark, because they're losing, not just Ernest Hausman and Jayshawn Barham, guys to graduation, but they're also losing Jimmy Roller. He had 1 year of eligibility, decided to declare for the NFL draft. I don't disagree with that decision, especially since I believe he has his degree in hand. So I'll never fault a guy who was around for 4 years, won a national title, earned a college degree, and wants to go pro. I mean, that's pretty much everything you could want. But I think losing Cole Sullivan to Oklahoma, that stings. And then, I think they were second on a couple linebacker recruiting battles for, one guy from Pitt, one guy from Cal. So yeah, I think it's a little younger at linebacker than maybe if I'm Michigan that I would prefer. So wouldn't be surprised if they keep looking for other guys, but offense looks kind of locked and loaded. I'm slowly putting together a piece of how did each position group do? And I would argue every position group looks as good or better than it did this past season on offense. Defense, I think there's room for another D tackle, especially a guy with experience. There's room for another edge. And then I think linebacker, they've added some depth pieces, guys like Max Alford and Christian Pierce. But really, I mean, you probably would love to have a Power 5 guy who started maybe 15, 20 games in his career that what you're going to get. Because a guy like Troy Bowles, he could be great next year. Nathaniel Owusu-Boateng, I actually was pretty impressed from him as a true freshman. Chase Taylor, same thing. I think there's guys who could step up. But if you're Michigan and you're trying to win a national championship, you don't necessarily want to count on guys maybe stepping up. You kind of want guys who are, especially in the transfer portal area, you might want a few guys who are ready to go for that game against Oklahoma, or if they play, at Oregon early on in the season, or against Indiana or against Iowa. They have a loaded schedule next year. You probably want some sure things on the defensive side of the ball, but if you can add a couple more, and they've added a few already. But yes, linebacker, edge, safety, and tackle, I think, are spots where there's definitely room. And I would not be surprised if they're making phone calls and watching film right now, trying to see if they can just round it out. Because that's what it's all about. I mean, every team's losing starters to the portal nowadays. Every team's gaining starters. You just kind of want to gain more than you lose in terms of talent and ability. And Michigan had a young, talented roster, but a huge coaching change. Not a lot of staff guys were retained. And so, of course, guys were going to leave. Guys were going to look for opportunities elsewhere. But, Michigan's gotta find a way to make sure that they're putting a playoff caliber roster on the field when spring practices start in just a couple months.
Larry, do you have another one, Larry? Or
Yeah, I asked Jamie this question, and you guys are around it a lot more often than I am. The young man who puts himself in the portal, but it doesn't work out for him that well. He might not have gotten what he wanted, or it didn't work out. Now, when he returns, first of all, does he automatically get to return to his university? And then secondly, if he does, is he kind of looked at differently that he tried to enter the portal, and does he have egg on his face now?
I think it's a great question, and it's something that, it's kind of changed a lot in just the last 2 years, because this year, and I'm sure you guys could agree with me, this has seemed a lot more NFL style in how the transfer portal entries are being reported. It's, and even the retentions or the signings, it's no longer, hey, this guy's going to transfer from Texas to Michigan. It's like, this guy signed with Michigan who outbid Texas. Like, it's a little more transparently, there's the financial is a big part of it, and that's a little bit more out in the open. So, yeah, I think in a way that almost makes it less awkward, just if you are coming back, because Michigan, they've had a lot of guys enter the portal. Now, they were kind of a unique deal because they had a late coaching change, and obviously with coaches, everyone theoretically wants to look around. But yeah, Zeke Berry, Logan Forbes, Andrew Sprague, Jake Granera, Jordan Young, and there could be a couple others that are guys who entered the portal and returned. So I think Michigan is going to be able to avoid that awkwardness that you mentioned, Larry, because I think it is a big deal. And I think at lower levels, like maybe the group of 5 level, sometimes guys enter the portal and they don't find another school, and the school that they left no longer has room for them, or that's what they say, because now they can say that. And so, it's kind of an unfortunate reality, but I know some of my colleagues over at 24/7 have done the studies, and it's close to 30% of players who enter the portal never play a college football game again.
Wow.
And, again, that's not happening with guys who transfer from Michigan, just because a lot of them were high profile recruits. And even if it's not the school that they want, they can find a situation that works for them somewhere in college football. But it's some of these schools, I think, if I can be perfectly candid, I think some players get bad advice. Someone fills their head with this notion that they'd be better off going to a different school, or other schools will want them. And I'm not trying to sound like a jerk or call out any particular player, but I think sometimes guys will get bad advice or get bad ideas in their head. And in reality, sometimes being first off the bench for a top 15 program, you might have more fun with that. Even if you want to start somewhere else, like say you're, I don't know, maybe coming off the bench, first off the bench at Michigan on the offensive line, and you transfer, you hit the portal, you transfer to, like, let's say, I don't know, who's like a kind of a so-so program, but whatever, Syracuse, let's say that.
Or Purdue or something. Yeah.
And you're starting, but maybe your team isn't doing as well, or the coaching fit isn't quite as good, or there's so many reasons, that players, I think a lot more players than they would ever admit. They might not admit it, at least especially to us, but they might not admit it. But I think a lot of guys do regret entering the portal. So Larry, to answer your question, I do think the awkwardness, it's still there. I think for Michigan specifically this year with the coaching change, I think a lot of players, even if they didn't enter the portal, were looking around, considering all their options, just because, the coaches who recruited you might be gone. And so I think this year for Michigan, I don't think there'll be as much awkwardness, but I do think that is a factor. And that's why before this year, you didn't really hear a ton about players coming back, because coaches would be kind of frustrated. But now with the financials, I think there's a little bit more guys are entering the portal, and I don't know how I feel about this, but guys are entering the portal and basically saying, I'm going to go see if I can get some more money elsewhere, which is something that a lot of people do in the business world, but they have contracts. They don't necessarily stop working for 2 weeks and say, pay me more, or I'll try to get paid somewhere else. I don't know. It is one of those things though. And I think every coaching staff's going to have a different approach to how they handle guys who enter the portal. Because I bet, Whittingham's being pretty open this year because he's new in town and he doesn't necessarily want to, make anyone feel like pushed out or anything. But I wouldn't be surprised. Old school coaches like him, I wouldn't be surprised if moving forward, if somebody enters the portal, if he doesn't just say, don't bother coming back. Don't let the door hit you. If you want to make it public that you want to go play for someone else. And again, I think this year's different. I hope I've made that pretty clear, but I could see that being especially with a lot of these old school coaches. I mean, it's frustrating. You coach a player, you develop them, and suddenly, they want to enter the portal, not just because they're unhappy with you, but because they want leverage in these negotiations. So yeah, it's a lot. I don't envy these college football GMs these days because it seems like they've got their hands full and players have a lot of the leverage right now.
Yeah. We got time for one last quick one, Miz.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Larry.
One last quick one. I don't hear a word about with the transfer portal and everything. I don't hear a word about academics. Does a guy have to be academically eligible to go somewhere? Or I know some of these kids that are transferring might not have been the best students. Does academics have anything to do with it anymore?
It has less to do with it than maybe than myself transferring from one school to another would. So it definitely is less of a factor. I will say, and I'll put the Michigan angle in here, because I know Michigan, there's been a couple of recruits this cycle even, and obviously historically, especially on the basketball side of things, what happens is these schools have different rules about how many of your credits can transfer. And so Michigan has, and I think this is a well-intentioned rule, but they have a rule that if you're going to transfer to Michigan, a maximum of 60 of your credits out of 120 to graduate, 60 of them can come from another school. And so what's happening is guys who are going into their senior year, they might have 75 credits right now if they're halfway through their junior year. And
right.
But if only 60 of them transfer, suddenly that puts them a semester further from graduating. And so a lot of these players are tasked with the situation. Hey, are you willing to take 12 credits over the summer in order to stay on track to graduate? Because the NCAA, and the rule has changed since I last looked it up, but there used to be a rule where if you're going to play as a senior, you needed to have a certain amount of credits. Like there are certain rules that you have to make a certain threshold of credits each calendar year, just so you can't take like one class a semester until your senior year and then decide to peace out of college. I mean, you gotta. Well,
I know it's all about money, but what if a guy just say, hey, I would rather get my degree from a University of Michigan than Georgia Tech. I don't hear any of that kind of talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's a bummer because I think there are some. I mean, it's a huge opportunity. I think it does happen. Not to. I can't think of one player in particular, but Michigan's had a few guys over the years. Those graduate degrees, those are appealing. But I think, these days in football, I think a lot of these players are really focused on, one, the money they can make at a given school, because I mean, some of the numbers I've heard, I mean, I would take that salary. I would be focused on that in the short term too. But also they're focused on their NFL goals. So, it kind of depends on the quality of player or caliber of player, I should say, because guys who do not have NFL ambitions, I think we've seen, guys who've transferred to Michigan that kind of know they're not probably going to the NFL, but they're thinking, hey, I can maybe get a nice degree at Michigan, a master's degree. I can work some connections if I want to get into coaching. And then obviously I think Michigan, I can't speak for other schools because I don't cover other schools, but I think Michigan's athletic department does a pretty good job of having, good networking events, good career recruiting events, to make sure that players who do get a master's degree from Michigan aren't feeling like it's worthless, that it actually means something. So yeah, you don't hear about it as much. And that's, as someone who, obviously, I mean, I'm not a professor, but Jamie calls me the professor for a reason. Obviously that stuff matters to me. And, if it were my kids, I'd be saying, hey, if you're not going to Michigan, like make sure it's like a UVA or UCLA, one of these top 40 schools, just trying to get the best degree that you can get. But yeah, you definitely hear about it less. And it's a bummer because that's, I'm sure, a lot of the former athletes that I've talked to have said, I didn't even fully realize it at the time, but that degree got me a lot further than I thought it would. And it meant a lot more to me later in life, because football careers especially are short. And so it's important to commit to a 40-year plan, not just a 4-year plan. Make sure the rest of your life is enhanced and improved because of your decisions.
Correct.
Zach, one last question before we let you go. Big basketball game tonight out on the West Coast, Michigan at Washington. Obviously, Michigan coming off their first loss of the season at home against Wisconsin. Washington actually with I guess you would consider it a very impressive win by beating Ohio State at home over the weekend as well. I mean, Michigan's going on the road for a couple of games against teams that are right now on the bottom part of the Big Ten standings, and they could be looking a little hungry. Could this be one of those games that's, being a 10:30 game for the Michigan fans? Could this be one of those games that could sneak up on Michigan, or do you think Washington is? Do you think they heal like they kind of did with Purdue earlier on the week, or last week, I should say?
Yeah, if you're asking me to predict, I do think Michigan gets a win tonight. I think it's a tricky matchup though, because one, they just flew across the country and they're playing at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm sure they left a couple days ago. So you would think that they're adjusted to the time frame, but yeah, this is way out of their comfort zone. And we've seen it, especially in football, but even in basketball, these West Coast or for the Western Coast teams, the trips to the East Coast, these are tough. They're tough wins. And as I've said probably 1,000 times on this show, Big Ten road games in basketball are no joke. I think people don't fully grasp that, but like John Beilein only won like 38% of his Big Ten road games. You're talking about a Hall of Fame coach who won multiple Big Ten titles, went to multiple Final Fours. He wasn't even winning half of his Big Ten road games. So it's a real deal. And Washington, they haven't always shown it, but I think they've got some actual talent. I think I think they're kind of an interesting team too, because Michigan, one of their best things they do defensively is they make you take a lot of mid-range shots, the quote-unquote low-efficiency shots. Washington takes them on their own. They love the mid-range. They love the step backs. They love, mixing it up in some of those 2-point jumpers and creating space. And so that's kind of their comfort zone. And so, yeah, I'm really curious to see just how the matchup works. Washington, they also make a lot of their free throws. Defensively, they do a little bit of everything, but they're a pretty good shot blocking team. They're decently experienced, decent size. I think this will be an important game for Michigan to get comfortable, create momentum, and see if they can create some of the speed, the free flowing offense that they had back in November and December. I think ever since the new year started, the USC game, the Penn State game, and then obviously the Wisconsin game, the offense just hasn't clicked in the same way. And I think part of that is defensively, they're not generating as many steals, not forcing as many turnovers. It's a whole lot easier to score if you just stole the ball than working out of a half-court situation. So, yeah, I think a lot of this will be about Michigan. Can they get back to what they do best? Can they play kind of that style of play that they're used to, where everyone's hot, everyone can score. Defensively, they're just kind of swarming you and just making it really hard for you to shoot anything by the rim. If they can do all that, I feel like they could win. But yeah, it's definitely a tricky game for Michigan because of the travel. I heard Washington sold out the stadium. I don't think they do that a ton for basketball. So, good on them for getting the crowd there. And yeah, Michigan's going to have to show up. There's no easy Big Ten road game. And I think Penn State proved that last week for Michigan. And Washington, especially home crowd, late night game, I think that they're gonna give Michigan a challenge, and it might not show in the score because Michigan's gonna dictate the score. I think in the end, if they play their best game, they'll win by 20 something. If they struggle, they could lose. But I think ultimately it's on Michigan to create their own momentum, get comfortable, and play loose. I think they're at their best when they play loose and high energy basketball.
Zach Shaw from Michigan 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports, and of course an FOP, a friend of the program. Zach, appreciate your time. Go warm up and get a little nap in before this late night game tonight.
That's right. It'll be a late night for me, but I love it. All right. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Appreciate it.
Take care, Zach.
Zach Shaw there. Of course, the basketball game on radio. You can hear that game over on 102.9 FM W4 Country starting at 10 o'clock. Brian Bush and Terry Mills will have the call of the game on W4 Country. And if you are not able to listen to it on the radio, it'll be on Big Ten Network tonight. So you can watch it there, 10:30 or roughly around 10:30 is when tip-off is going to be. They are giving a little extra wiggle room in case an earlier game goes on the later side of things. But Larry and I will take a quick break. When we come back, we'll figure something out. I'm pretty sure, because I'd like to pick your brain, Larry.
Yes.
About Wild Card Weekend, and then obviously looking ahead to this weekend's divisional round, because they're both 1-6, 2-5 matchups in the NFC and AFC. And want to get your thoughts on that. And we'll open the phones to the people, 734-998-1015. The text line, the same number. So we'll get to that all on the other side here on the M Zone on the Big 1050 WTKA and online at thebig1050.com. And we are clear on the radio. So we'll hit a break on stream and we will open the phones up in a little bit.
This is the M Zone.
This is the one part I let Larry open up the segment with. So hit it with us, Larry.
And welcome to the Big 1050. You got Jamie Morris here. You got Matt the Hitman Missler, the best in the Missler, and Larry Lee on the West Coast. We got to open it up the calls right now. Okay.
That's right. Phone lines are open 734-998-1050. I never really decided on an actual quote unquote question of the day. Mostly because I knew Jamie said he had to take off. I just wasn't sure what time. Usually, on a Wednesday, he usually taking off at 5, but I guess they had a little problems over at the school where CJ was with Pops today, so he didn't have no school today, so that's why I didn't know it was 4:30. He was dipping out, but here we are.
Sounds like he needed a little extra time too to wipe off his windshield.
Yeah, it sounded like he also he thought maybe that those couple of days we had warm weather that he thought, I can go ahead and put away the snow brush. I'm like, dude, you've lived in the state of Michigan how long now? Come on.
You know what? Usually there's one sprinkle of snow or something right around April, around Easter.
Every year. Time. Sometimes we've had the temperatures drop enough like in May where like, you know what? We're going to remind you that you're still not out the clear yet.
Right. Exactly.
Every time.
Exactly.
I guess my question for you, Larry, and if the people want to weigh in as well too, 734-998-1050. If you call in, be mindful that I'm kind of, multitasking right now. So it's kind of tough to answer calls and do the damn thing that way. I guess I want to get your thoughts on Wild Card Weekend, Larry, because we had the first 3 games of it. Chef's kiss, amazing games. Whether it was the Panthers Rams game, the Packers Bears game, and then on Sunday you had to kick it off with the Bills at the Jags, which that one went all the way down to the wire. And then you had the middle game of the 49ers and the Eagles, in which everyone was blowing all over the field. But then you end up towards the end getting Chargers and Pats, where the Patriots, they just, as the kids would say, they went belt to ass. and then Monday night, the Texans just completely just put the smack down on Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, especially in that fourth quarter, which leads us to division weekend coming up this weekend. And all matchups are a 1-6-2-5 matchup going into the divisional rounds. I guess what I wanted to know what your thoughts were about this past weekend in football, and then leading ahead to for the upcoming divisional round.
I got some strong opinions that probably I need to keep to myself because as many years as I played and worked in the NFL, that's an awful. I got to be careful. That's a whole lot to leave up to chance. The who happens to be whom. And I look at it a little deeper. I go, well, these owners, they are a unit. They're all for one and one for all. Correct. Yep. So imagine this. An owner goes to the league meetings and he says, man, I've been down for a while, man. I haven't had any playoffs. I haven't I need to make some money. How can I change my scenario around? Then do they discuss it and they listen to my man, or, hey, you just better get better as an owner? How those are questions somewhere I think are being asked somewhere, or something that well far beyond any of our comprehension. And so I say that to say, look at this year, the Carolinas and different people are at the helm. Philly's gone, Kansas City's gone, maybe Jared, my man Allen up there at Buffalo finally gets his chance. Seattle is back. And last year, the creme de la creme was the NFC North. This year is the NFC West. So it's kind of, all that. I try, our listeners know me by now. I dissect everything, man. I try to. That don't mean I have the answers. Don't mean I come up with the answers. But at least I'm gonna be cerebral and think about it all. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
so that's my interest. Now, who's gonna beat whom this week and all that? You know, we can talk about all that, but it just seems mighty interesting. You know, the Lions are out. You know, the teams are on the rise that you thought were going to do better and do good, and now you got teams like Houston in the hunt and doing it well. You know, Steelers haven't been around in a while, and I heard something. Speaking of Steelers, I heard something the other day that was pretty interesting. Part of the reason why Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, you know, a winning record but never, you know, do well and that kind of. They don't really have a great opportunity to get better because they're usually middle of the run of the draft, you know, every year. So they're not getting the necessarily top talent, you know, the number 2 top 10 picks or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, so that makes it very interesting. They've been basically run of the mill and getting acquiring talent through the draft. And that's an interesting segue because like I said, I'm always thinking, Miz. You know, I try to think, well, what about the intangible? What about this? What about that? And so that's my answer. Did I answer your question?
I think so. Because I mean, with you even bringing up like the draft aspect of things, you know, I mean, the one thing that I thought was extremely impressive with Mike Tomlin's time in Pittsburgh and his 19 seasons, he's never had a season under 500. He's finished 8-8 or better.
Right.
And
right.
like at that point, like, you know, I mean, he may have not made the playoffs every single year in that time frame, but to be able to do, you know, to finish 500 or better in 19 seasons, 19 straight seasons, every year that you coached, 500 or better.
Yeah,
I mean, that's impressive. The only people that can have that same conversations are Bill Belichick when he was with the Patriots. And then I believe it was Tom Landry who did it for 21 years down in Dallas.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's an elite group right there. And yeah, I kind of, you know, when the news came out yesterday that Tomlin was stepping down, that it turned into what job or even what head coach that's, you know, that may have had a job last year that's available this year, you know, would be the most appealing. You know, because obviously, John Harbaugh is, you know, has been reported in interviewing with the Giants, but Mike Tomlin, his name hasn't been brought up yet, and I hope he does, unless he's making the decision to. Jamie and I thought maybe he'd take a year off, maybe he'd go do some analytic work for one of the networks for football, because I think he'd make a hell of an analyst with NBC because they've got some great talent over there. Or I know Netflix is starting up their sports, the coverage of things as well.
Here's another thought. The coach, what's the Broncos coach?
Goodness gracious, why am I blanking on him?
I know me too. Why am I blanking? Well, anyway, the Denver Broncos.
Sean Payton.
Sean Payton. He did something strategic if he did it, but everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of pundits say that he did this. He took a year off. And got in the media and learned something about each and every one of the teams, you know, through commentating and everything. Then he went back when he went back, he had a lot more information under his belt than he did just being the coach of the Saints. So, you know, maybe Mike T looks at that scenario and go, you know what, I'm gonna do a year in the media. And I get to watch all the other teams and learn something about all of them. And now when I come back, man, my gun's loaded, man. You know, so that's an interesting thought.
I mean, it's I think the layman's term is everyone's playing checkers. I'm playing chess.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think, you know, like I said, especially if he's got the itch that he can't seem to scratch. Maybe you know, after a year in media, maybe he does make that jump back to coaching. And again, he uses the same tools that Sean Payton had when he joined with the Denver Broncos. Obviously, it took a couple of years for him to get the Broncos back to the playoffs, but now he's got them as the number 1 team in the AFC.
You
never know.
Besides the Lions, I'm closest to the Steelers. Kevin Colbert, their previous general manager, and I worked together at the Lions, and we're buddies, and we still are buddies. And I'm good friends with Omar, and I used to go to camp every year. The past couple of years I haven't. I used to go to camp and spend about 10 days with the Steelers, watch film with them and all of that stuff. What a great organization. And, I texted Mike T and told him, hey, man, congrats on a great career. And he hit me back and all of that. So, a quick story, Miss. Years ago when they were looking for a coach, Kevin Colbert, as I said, my good friend, was the GM. Kevin would call me like on the side and tell me about some of the guys that he was interviewing. And he was, picking my brain a little bit because he knew, I played in the whole nine and we were buddies. So he interviewed Mike T. And my comment to him, he loved all about Mike T. And I said, well, plus you got the other adage about minority coaching, hiring, and all of that. And I told Kevin, I said, look, I'm not telling you that you have to hire a brother. I said, but whatever your prerequisites are, whatever your demands are, if a brother happens to meet them best, pull the trigger and don't deny pulling the trigger just because of color. And he did that. He said, but he also said to me, it was funny. He said, Larry, man, something's bothering me. I said, what, Kev? What's bothering you? He said, man. He said, when I picked him up, we were driving around and everything, and we drove by a Chuck E. Cheese. And Mike Tomlin said, hey, Chuck E. Cheese, man. My parents used to take me to Chuck E. Cheese. He said, Larry, I'm about to hire a guy that talked to me about Chuck E. Cheese. That's a little inside story, man, between me and Kevin Colbert. But Lord, did he make a great choice. Lord, did he make a great hiring. And here we are 19 years later. And, man, what a great career, so far. I think it's going to continue, but, yeah, man, I come up with those stories. Kevin, man, Larry, he talked to me about going to Chuck E. Cheese.
Really, in hindsight, you think about it now, like, hey, I'd rather my coach talk about going to Chuck E. Cheese than going to one of those
brothel.
Yeah, something like that. I think I'd rather take the Chuck E. Cheese aspect. Like, oh, okay, so he did know how to loosen up and kind of take the edge off, so to speak.
At least we won't know. At least we know he won't be in the Epstein files.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. 734-998-1050 is the number. Let's head down to Columbus. Talk to Hadley. What's up, Hadley?
Oh, fellas, it's good to hear you. And Larry, good to have you for the 5 o'clock hour for one. I think it's the first time this year you've been here.
Hadley, I've been there several times. I just couldn't do it yesterday, but I've been here several times at 5 o'clock hour.
No, I meant for the phone. I meant for the phone calls because usually you had to dip out early or whatever.
Yeah, I know last week that Larry had to dip out. He had to take care of business like he did yesterday. So we found, at least Philly E and I found a way to kill out 20-some minutes of content for the last Wednesday's 5 o'clock hour at least.
Plus, with some of the stuff I got going on with the time difference out here in LA makes it a little hard sometimes too.
Yeah, it's still prime afternoon time for Larry right now. It's still prime time right now. It's prime afternoon time.
Well, see, Larry, that's how much you fit in. We forget you're on the West Coast. We think you're on our time.
Right. Yeah. So, so every now and then there's a conflict with a doctor's appointment or something. Like this week, I'm really concentrating on, I'm heading to Virginia on Friday for the Ken Easley Memorial on Saturday that I'm a part of. And that's a little tough. So I was getting the haircut and all those good things and getting everything in order to get ready to head out there for the memorial.
Well, I hope you have, I know it'll be a nice time out there. I'm not going to say a great time because it is a memorial. So, I hope you get to see a lot of people and, get to visit and say what you want to say.
Yeah, I will. A lot of Kenny was a Hall of Famer, so we have confirmation that Steve Largent is coming. I think Warren Moon is coming. Ronnie Lott is coming. Who else? Who else? Ronnie Lott, Steve Largent. There's someone I'm overlooking. Oh, Warren Moon. Warren Moon is talking about coming. So I think it's gonna be a nice memorial. And Jacob Green, longtime Seattle Seahawk, who should be in the Hall of Fame, he's coming as well. So it's gonna be a good time. His wife Gail, I knew him when they first started dating over probably 30, 40 years ago, and she. Kenny was a fun-loving kind of guy who loved Earth, Wind, and Fire. So she has hired the band, and we're going to have Kenny was an avid golfer as well. So it's going to be a golf theme. The first 9 holes are going to be all the speeches and all that kind of stuff, dedications and all that. But the second 9 holes is going to be the party in which the band plays. And, we got a lot of Earth, Wind, and Fire chalked up, getting ready for it and to honor Kenny. And, looking forward to it.
And just keep in mind, from if you can, Mr. Lee, that Philly is not the only one that can go old school.
That's right.
Right now that can go back old school too.
Yes, sir. You're exactly right, Hadley. And when I got but Jamie makes me feel old. Like people don't know what I'm talking about. They know more of what I'm talking about than he gives me credit for. The old school now, and he uses me as a barometer. That's the barometer to see if I'm really old school or not. So that's what's going on. And you're right, Hadley. Man, you can be involved in that equation as well.
Yeah, he uses the millennial as a barometer. That's not a good idea. Not a good idea. But here we are today.
No, because I can remember the drive. I was watching that game. I remember the fumble and all that stuff. And the only thing different between him and I is that he can probably tell you what the weather was that night, the starting lineup, how did the quarterbacks finish for the game, blah blah.
Right,
blah, blah.
Right. Yep, that was it was in Denver, and the Ernest Minor fumble. That propelled us to the Super Bowl that year, and that was Super Bowl 22, the one where the Redskins beat up the Broncos and Doug Williams and the Redskins beat us up that day in San Diego. But that was that Super Bowl.
You probably didn't keep track of this or even really remember, but do you remember who did that game, who announced it? It was on NBC.
I don't remember who announced it. No, I don't.
Well, Philly will tell you, but I'm going to tell you anyway. It was Dick Enberg.
Who was it?
Dick Enberg.
Oh, Dick. Okay, Dick Enberg. Yep. And there were 2 years in a row. The first one, I wasn't with the Broncos. I had gotten traded from the Dolphins to the Broncos for the second one. The first Cleveland, Denver AFC Championship was the drive. That was Elway. On the drive in Cleveland. And then I wasn't on the team then, but I got with the team the next year, and that was the Ernest Minor fumble. Both Broncos beating the Cleveland Browns in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah. So I was listening to you guys and listened to that little sports break that you take at the top of the hour. Hey, Miz, are you guys still with CBS anymore, or Infinity, or what's the deal now? Because I'm hearing these.
It was more of like a industry announcement that they were that Infinity switched from CBS, but then late last year, like late 25, they had made the switch that it was going to be Westwood One Sports. So it's still technically in that same kind of, like family of things, so to speak, but they're calling it the syndication stuff is Westwood One Sports. So the same home that you get your NFL, your Sunday night football, your Monday night and Thursday night footballs. The syndication stuff comes from that as well too. The only thing that we change up is Rich Eisen that we have from noon to 3 for
right.
us.
So who do you carry on the overnight hours when you don't have local shows and stuff?
I'm not sure who does like midnight to 6, but or like in that time frame. But I know like after us, if Sports Wrap isn't on, it's like one of like the betting shows that they have at the very least. That's what they have right after.
But it is through Westwood One now, not CBS anymore.
Correct.
That's interesting. I really didn't think the CBS Sports done with.
Not so much. I mean, like the TV network is still around, but I'm not sure. A lot of the radio stuff. I think I'm not sure how some of it goes. I get the emails from industry stuff, and I'm like, okay, I don't know how much it's going to impact me. But when I saw that they changed it up late last year, then I'm like, oh, okay. So this surprisingly, one of these emails that I get actually, has something to impact me at the very least.
And Larry, I don't know how much you've been following your basketball team this year, but they seem to be doing pretty well. And they got Penn State tonight. It's on FS1 in case you care, and it starts at about 5:30 your time. So I'm sure you've been watching them. I wanted to get your asset, what you thought of the team so far this year from what you see.
Yeah, I was teasing Jamie, or Jamie was teasing me the other day. When I looked at the basketball top 25, UCLA wasn't in it. And I said, that's blasphemy, man. Never, ever. I can't remember. I can't ever remember UCLA not being in the top 25 in basketball. I was highly offended. I was hurt. I was dejected.
I was honestly surprised too that, because they started the year in the top 25, but they slipped down a little bit at the very least. But I think they got a nice way to rebound back here in a little, as the season progresses on. They're right in the middle of the pack in the Big Ten right now.
Yeah. Yep. So, this sounds weird. Part of the reason why I went to UCLA was probably UCLA basketball. Coming out of high school, I was a UCLA basketball nut. And, I got there on my recruiting trip, and I looked around and saw all the championship banners, and I'm actually at Pauley Pavilion, and I met Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lou Alcindor, I met these guys, and I'm going, I can go to school here. And it didn't hurt that it was January, and I left 8-degree weather to 75, 80-degree weather, and all of the above, helped me. And at that time, UCLA football was on the rise. It was not where it is now, and it was on the rise. And they had just beaten Ohio State in the Rose Bowl and that kind of thing. And then after my class, we were the #1 recruited class in the nation. Ken Easley and Freeman McNeil and myself and then we did our thing and brought UCLA back to prominence. But then Troy Aikman and that group behind us, they took it to the next level, So it's just the answer. That was a long answer to your question, Hadley. But the UCLA Bruins not in the top 25 in basketball, blasphemy.
Yeah, UCLA had a tough non-con at the very least. Hadley, we'll talk with you tomorrow. Before we go to break, Larry, there's someone that's on the line right now.
Yeah.
And he says he's a bit of a blast of the past for you. He's listening in one of our ACC neck of the woods. Let's head down to North Kakalaki and talk to Drew. Drew, what's going on, big man?
Hey, what's up, fellas? I'm sitting
what's
here.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Look, full disclosure. This is probably my best friend in the world, y'all. My best friend. Drew and I go way, way back. Drew has quite an existence himself. This is a VIP we're talking to, Ms.
An Drew, FOP, a friend of the program.
Drew, correct.
Yeah,
Drew, tell him your title now. But Drew has held some awesome titles over the years. What's your title now, Drew?
Well, I'm blessed. I'm Vice President of Marketing, Media, Partnerships, Community Outreach, and I'm the Executive Director for the National Junior College Athletic Association Board.
NJCAA.
I'm blessed. And I hear we got some NJCAA alumni in the house, huh?
Well, not so much alumni. It was more of a, it's where I decided to go to school before I jumped into a tech college. But yes, I am a former enrollee of Schoolcraft College. Go Ocelots.
Well, I tell you what, hey, I'm sitting here in the national office in Charlotte, and I got my speakers, everything up. The whole office, the entire office has been listening to the big 1050 since about 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Hell yeah.
I hadn't listened this year. I said, I got to tune in and check up with man Larry. And I said, I know they're going to be talking about, man, what an exciting weekend of football, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
I said wild card last
even
week
if you
in
weren't a
Division
fan,
mm-hmm.
even if
Correct.
you weren't a fan of the NFL, you are now, because what about some exciting games? We even had one here in Charlotte. I know a lot of fans have been down on the Panthers, but what an exciting game. And they came back and made it a great game. So I said, let me check on my guy, Larry Lee, my boy, my brother. My mom says that's her other son. And
yeah.
I said, I'm excited to listen to some football. And I get on, and what do I hear? I'm thinking I'm going to hear about some playoffs and some divisional playoffs. And I'm listening and talking about Chuck E. Cheese. Mike T. Hey, but I tell you what, you think that's funny. I got a story. So I was in Detroit at the time. I was with HBO,
Mm-hmm.
and Larry and I would get together, and we'd have a great time with HBO and do some things. And so Larry says, hey, you're going to be in town this weekend. There's an old school concert. I'm like, fantastic, let's go. I'm thinking it's just going to be Larry and I hanging out, because I think it was the Delphonics, the Four Tops, and the Spinners. And who shows up with Larry? Kevin Colbert. Now I'm thinking to myself, now what does Kevin Colbert know about old school?
Man.
Now, we sat down. The three of us had a great time, and he knew every word to every song of every old school group, R&B. What about a great time, man?
I'm telling you, I was telling Miz and my listeners, Kevin Colbert, that's my brother from another too. And man, Kevin knows all the old school music, man. And Kevin, when we say Kevin Colbert, we're talking about the former GM of the Pittsburgh Steelers for the last 20-something years until, last year he retired, I think. And man, when we worked together at the Lions, when we went on road trips, man, Kevin and I would sit up to 3 and 4 in the morning listening to, Temptations and all those old groups, man. Kevin, and then, as you know, Drew, we go to camp with the Steelers. Kevin would make a big bonfire out there, and we have music blasting all night. Good stuff. That's my brother from another, and yeah, man. And matter of fact,
I'm going to say one more thing, Larry.
Yeah.
How about when the Steelers win the championship down in Tampa?
Yeah.
You got the back in the day band, and how about staff? You had Mike T up on the stage with drums, and you had the quarterback. You had the MVP of the game sitting on the drums and playing guitar, and it was just a great time. And there was Kevin.
Who else came up and joined us? You remember?
Yeah, I think Rod Woodson was there.
Yeah, but Snoop Dogg. Remember Snoop Dogg came up.
Snoop, yep.
Yeah.
And Harrison was the MVP of the game. He was on stage. What a night. What a time.
Man, well, ladies and gentlemen, we could talk for hours. This is my best friend, Drew. Matter of fact, we'll see each other this weekend. He's going to meet me up at the Ken Easley Memorial in Chesapeake, Virginia. And, yeah, man, thanks for calling in, Drew. Tell all your co-workers, man, right on.
They're all listening, and we're going to be nonstop listeners for the Big 1050 moving on in. Every week I'm calling in. So thanks a lot, and you guys have a great evening.
Man, that's awesome stuff. Appreciate you, Drew. We appreciate you. Hey, Larry, look at you, man. You spreading the word and
spreading the word. Look at that. That's my boy. That's my boy.
We getting it done. We're going to take a quick break, and Philly E will get you coming up on the other side to close us out here on a Wednesday. January 14th here on the M Zone on the Big 1050 WTKA and online at the big1050.com.
This is the M Zone.
Larry, you hit us with it.
Hey, welcome to the Big 1050. You got Jamie Morris, you Matt the Hitman Missler, and Larry Lee on the West Coast. What's going on? What's next, there, Miz?
Well, let's close the show out. We got about less than 5 minutes, so we bring in our East Coast correspondent, Philly E, to come help us. Philly E, what's going on, man?
What the hell happened to Jamie? Did he get? Is he sick? He sounds different today.
No, the original had to go be on daddy
not
duty.
The original.
The substitute sounds sick. I know.
Absolutely. Sounds like he got kicked in the nuts twice.
Boom, baby.
I did see this morning. Tomlin apparently is under contract still, so I don't think he could work for a year or two, right? Is that right, boys?
I know. Yeah, I think he does have. He's still under contract, but I think, especially if he wants to be a coach, they're going to have to kind of do what they.
He just can't go freely. They're going to have to address him in some way.
Trade or something. A little trade
little
talk
compensation, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I did think of this scenario. I'm surprised they didn't bring it up in the morning, and I mean on TV. just that he sits out for a year or two and he recharges his battery. I mean, we've seen this with Dick Vermeil, although Dick Vermeil, I mean, he retired after 82 and he didn't come back till what? The frickin' late 90s, right?
I think so, yeah.
I don't see that happening. I mean, if he recharges, but how cool would this be? Can you imagine, like 2 years from now, the Cowboys are crapping the bed, and they bring in like Tomlin. Can you imagine, like, the first human being to coach the Steelers and the Cowboys? That would be pretty damn cool.
Yeah. Well, you heard what
somebody's cap for sure.
Did you hear what Bisciotti said, the owner of the Ravens?
No, what did he say?
He was saying, wouldn't it be funny if Harbaugh went to the Steelers and Mike Tomlin came to the Ravens?
Yeah, that would be crazy. I don't see it. And I brought this up yesterday. The Steelers kind of, just judging from their history, they want somebody young enough to be there for the next 12, 15 years. And yeah. I don't think John Harbaugh fits that bill.
No,
I could be wrong.
No, you're right. I think at best, if they brought Harbaugh into the conversation, he might have, I don't know, 5-6 years maybe potentially. But I mean, that's why I think a lot of people have been drawn towards Mike McDaniel possibly being, put into that role, or even Kevin Stefanski, the guy that got let go from the Cleveland Browns. But I don't think.
What's his name? Freeman from Notre Dame is a possibility.
Yeah. Man, I want to see that. That's what we all, as Michigan fans, that's what we want to see. We want to see. Get those boys in the portal, baby. Right?
Yep.
That's right.
We'll clean up. Because if there's anybody that's a lot like Michigan, other than the fact that it's not a public school, it's a Catholic school, it's Notre Dame.
Yep.
Hey, Philly, were you listening earlier? I needed your help on something earlier. Jamie calls me
old. I wasn't listening earlier. I was really busy at school.
Say that again.
You said he was either he must have missed it because he could have been busy at school.
Okay. Well, earlier your name came up because I needed you to back up some of the names I was mentioning, like Gloria Estefan and some of the Miami names. And Jamie said, "You're so old, they don't know that." And I said, "I bet Philly E knows that."
Actually, that's my old lady's favorite performer. She loves Gloria Estefan.
Yeah, see.
But, I think once she got in a car accident, she kind of went away altogether, right?
I mean,
that's true.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the last thing that she was, I think relevant with was, wasn't she one of the judges? No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Paula Abdul. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Well, let me tell you this. When I was playing for the Dolphins, she used to come around. She was fine. Fyne.
I believe it. Yeah, sure. Yeah, she's one of the Cubanas, right?
Yes, exactly.
And before I go, what is the deal with Ben Johnson? Like, you call Matt LaFraud out, start the year, and then you beat him. I get it. It was an emotional game, but damn, like, shake the man's hand, something like that. That was, I got to say, that was cool.
That was crappy. It was crappy.
I mean, is he trying to do this Buddy Ryan crap where he's trying to kind of manufacture like this rivalry? You don't need to do all that. Just go out there and play. Let the fans work. All that.
I agree.
Exactly.
You know what I mean, boys? I know you got to go. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Go Blue.
Appreciate it, Philly. Yeah, definitely. Definitely a little.
That was tacky.
Shade. Yeah, a little shade put up there by Ben Johnson, but hey, maybe it's just the emotion at the time. But still, I mean, sometimes you got to check the emotions at time. But
that's right.
Larry, good time to be able to close the show out with you, my friend, and good to see you as well. And we'll catch it all up tomorrow.
Mañana.
Exactly it. So thank you again to John Borton and Zach Shaw for joining us on the show. Jamie will be back tomorrow, as will Larry and myself. So thank you for tuning in and listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050 WTKA and online at thebig1050.com. Sports Wrap is next.